The action takes place in 2025 on the planet Sangmun. A girl in a lilac cloak with a hood tries to kill the immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun with a sword, who dodges all her attacks and asks why her sister is trying to kill him. She throws off her hood and throws aside her sword. Rushing to her brother and hugging him, tenderly whispers if he remembers how 5,000 years ago he was a great emperor on Earth, and she was the mistress of the spirit realm. They cultivated together, went through trials together, and traveled the planets. She no longer wants being just Tai Kang's sister. He is so cruel that he constantly rejects her. That's why she wants to die with him. A powerful explosion is heard, and after a while a wounded Xiaguiqun crawls out of the funnel, who winces in pain and holds the wound with his hand, thinking that his sister decided to kill him if she could not get him. She is so cruel. It looks like he will have to retire for a while in order to regain his strength. Kanglung was originally a completely deserted planet, but when the immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun began to recover here, his aura flowed out, which led to the appearance of indigenous people, a kind of earthly beings, on the planet Kanglun. They worshipped Xiaguiqun as their father god and called themselves descendants of the gods. Many creatures in white robes worship a white statue. 300 years later, the people of the Blue Star moved here, cities arose, humanity grew, and the indigenous peoples began to be called demons. The action takes place in 2525 on the planet Sangmun. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun stands in the street in utter amazement and does not understand how it all happened. When he went into seclusion, there was a desert here, but now, everything in this world was filled with karma along with him. Is this really the world that his immortal power nurtured? The action takes place in a small store. The saleswoman is a little embarrassed to say that they respect his freedom to love hanbok. But whether he is sure that he wants to buy a product that costs $10 for an old bill that is 500 years old, they cannot give him change. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun does not know what to do and is silent in confusion. At this time, a girl with long blonde hair and dark pink eyes approaches them and tells the saleswoman to give this man an old bill. She will pay instead of him. The girl playfully asks the little demon not to be so presumptuous in the future and says goodbye, leaving. The action takes place in the evening. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun holds a bottle of water in his hand and thinks that, it seems, times have changed seriously. The old money will no longer be used. Besides, it is impossible to take a step without an identity card. At this time, he notices a girl with fox ears who is running across the roofs from a gray flying monster and realizes that his aura is unnatural, because he is not by nature like that. The gray monster screams at the smelly fox to give the serum, because she won't get away with it. She screams that they really came up with a medicine that turns people into animals, and have even put it into practice. A flying gray monster throws a fox into a pole with a powerful blow and shouts that when she dies, no one will ever know about it. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun thinks that if we proceed from the level of division according to the level of cultivation, then Yanzio Ru is considered a cultivator at the beginning of the Kinzin stage, which is considered very strong among mortals. And this Batman, with the help of medicine, ignited his potential and raised his strength to about the middle of the Kinzin stage at the cost of shortening his lifespan. Yanzio Ru points a gun at the flying gray monster and exclaims that times have already changed. Yanzio Ru shoots a jet of blue energy from a pistol, but the gray flying monster easily dodges and sharply shortens the distance, grabbing the girl with fox ears by the hand and saying that he also told her that it would not be possible to escape. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun says that since she has a part of his karma, he will help this fox cub, and with a powerful blow of Kai throws the gray flying monster to the ground. Yanzio Ru somehow gets to his feet and asks in amazement who did it. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun approaches her and asks if she needs help. The girl with long blonde hair and fox ears thinks that this is the same little demon she met in the store and gently says, calling him brother, that she feels very unwell. Does he want to go to the hotel and chat with his sister? She thinks that as soon as they arrive at the hotel, she will hit this person and everything will be fine. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun thinks he's completely stupid. However, it's still better for him not to mess with foxes. Yanzio Ru clings to his clothes and says that when they come to the hotel, he can do whatever he wants with her. She grabs her head, pretending that it hurts her and hoping that she will be picked up. But at this time a man with long dark hair steps aside and a girl with long blonde hair and fox ears falls to the asphalt. Yanzio Ru exclaims whether he is a guy at all. How can she not attract him? Or is he underdeveloped? Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun coldly tells her to stop talking, as not all men are good at it. 3 running people in formal suits appear on the horizon, and a man with long dark hair says that someone is coming. A man with blonde hair shines a flashlight on them and exclaims what they are doing here. A girl with long blonde hair and fox ears snuggles up to a man who is looking at those who have come up. The man with blonde hair clearly recognizes Yanzio Ru and is surprised to say that it is Mrs. Yin. She is so unusually dressed. She immediately takes the initiative and indignantly declares that she and her boyfriend were returning from a party, stumbled upon demons, and they were robbed. There was not even a car left. That's how well they maintain public order. Immortal Emperor Xiaguiqun thinks that the patrolmen passing by know this girl, Is she really a local celebrity? The man with blonde hair says that it has been very restless lately, especially this afternoon. There was a heavenly sign, and the outlines of Kangland floated in the clouds. He does not know at all what to do with these demon clans in the south. Yin Xiaoru says that if so, she will leave it, because the police have worked so hard arresting demons. But they have to prepare a car for her and her boyfriend so that they can return home. The policeman says that in this case he will now arrange for them to be taken back. The action takes place in the car. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan looks out the window and thinks that the dragon form of Kanglan was a vision that was created by his coming to the surface. After so many years, still not fully recovered from injuries, really pathetic. Yin Xiaoru thinks that this hapless demon is a bit handsome and puts her hand on his waist. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan exclaims in surprise what she is doing. The girl with fox ears looks at him with interest and tenderness and sits on his lap. The driver looks at them in the mirror and thinks with contempt that the first female president of the city of Sanghui, so arrogant and indifferent, becomes the same as all women when she sees a handsome man. Yin Xiaoru gets off the man's lap and moves away from him, thinking that she guessed what race he was and automatically checked if he had a tail. She had been an arrogant human girl for more than 20 years, but her fox nature was revealed because of him. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan and Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru get out of the car, which stopped in front of a large rich house. A girl with fox ears takes a man in a traditional Chinese suit by the chin and says that at this time, when gods and people are at enmity, he can't just reveal who he is. Besides, he doesn't have an ID card or a penny in his pocket. He is silent, and the president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Xiaoru, goes to the entrance of the house and says, without turning around, that since he passed by today and without any hesitation helped her cope with the demon, she will also help him with documents and money. Let him follow her. When the couple appears on the doorstep of the house, they are met by a lot of servants who are lined up on both sides of the red carpet and greet their mistress. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru walks forward with a calm smile. The immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan follows her, also used to this, but immersed in the thought that this is not a small nuisance. At this time, he passes by the bowed head of the butler, who thinks with impotent rage that the young mistress has brought her lover into the house. A man in a traditional Chinese suit thinks that this butler only seems so firm and inflexible, but he hates out of envy, and the frightened and angry thoughts that are desperately rushing into the sea of God are not hidden from his perception at all. The couple enters the room, and the girl with fox ears throws a bracelet into the hands of the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan and says that this bracelet is tied to her unlimited bank account. With money, everything is very simple. Difficulties will arise only with electronic identification, but this is not so important because she has someone who is higher than her. A blue window pops up in front of the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan, in which there are such columns as name, age, gender, race, specialty, hobbies, profession, and personal experience. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoju says that he should start by creating his dossier from childhood to adulthood. Let him tell the truth about himself, and she will see how it will be possible to adapt it to a more or less acceptable option. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan says that he is afraid that no one will believe in his real experience if he is listed in the profile, and thinks that she is trying to probe his background. The girl with fox ears bends down to make the bed and ironically asks if he is still trying to pretend to be a legendary person. What can his real personality be? Maybe his master is a real immortal, or he can open a mountain abode for the Celestials, where all the immortals will come, and the 9 heavenly ones live in his bed. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan says that she is pretty close to the truth. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoju throws a pillow at an astonished man in a traditional Chinese suit and demands to stop talking this nonsense and start a story about his childhood. The immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan, as he was asked, says that he was born in the Xia dynasty and was, as it is now called, a prince, and after his father died, he inherited the throne. The girl with fox ears understands that the situation is hopeless and exclaims that she will come up with better herself. She playfully touches a man in a traditional Chinese suit by the chin and says that she can actually guess without his words. The city's president Zhang Gui pulls away and starts typing at breakneck speed, astounding his interlocutor and enthusiastically muttering that he is a child who was left behind after the gods evacuated from the northern continent after the war between humans and gods that broke out 24 years ago. Right, immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan thinks she is trying to test him again, but she doesn't believe him when he tells her the truth. Soon, Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru says, bending in half, that she has finished compiling information about him, but she needs to find a good friend who can introduce her to the Daxia system, so she will have to wait a few days. The mortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan thanks her for helping him with his personality. In return, he can also help her with something. The girl with fox ears says that it's not worth it, especially since a beginner who doesn't even have an identity card can do it for her. The man in the traditional costume seriously says that he is the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru playfully says that he turns out to be an immortal emperor. Now she will call him Xing Dai. After a while, immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan's hairstyle was changed by a spell, and he himself changed into modern clothes. He sits on the sofa and asks the girl sprawled next to him, who no longer has fox ears, What kind of war between people and gods she was talking about then? Xiangui City President Yin Xiaozhu is surprised that he does not know about this either and promises to tell everything. 200 years ago, the human fleet of the Blue Star wandered to the planet Kangwon, and at first people and gods could live in peace, but then people seized power and they, the indigenous people, hold control over part of the country. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan says in amazement that divine skills cannot be defeated by scientific achievement. The blonde-haired girl says she understands his frustration, but times have changed. A man with red hair, who is sitting in front of a computer and talking to someone via video link, informs the head of Yinping that the head of Yin has brought a man home. The action takes place the next day. Expensive cars drive up to the house of the president of the city of Xiangui Yin Xiaozhu, from which many bodyguards in strict suits and dark glasses get out. One of the servants knocks on the door of the blonde-haired girl's room and informs the head of Yin that her great-aunt has arrived. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru wakes up from a knock and realizes that he is lying in the arms of the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan. She throws him off the bed with a pillow and shouts at him to get out of here. A man with dark hair keeps a completely unperturbed expression on his face and starts dressing in a house suit and slippers, while a girl with blonde hair quickly rummages through a drawer with clothes, scattering them all over the room, and exclaims that no man has ever spent the night in her bed. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan dodges her clothes and silently listens to the cry that he looks straight, but is actually a pervert. Soon, the president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Xiaozhu, cleans himself up and says that he should not go outside and show himself to anyone. If someone sees that she brought a man home, she will lose face. She turns around and leaves. And the man with dark hair thinks that they will come for him, and she has already lost face. On the first floor of the house, on the sofa, surrounded by 2 bodyguards in strict suits and dark glasses, sits Great-Aunt Yinping, a woman with brown hair and in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg, and with indignation and surprise asks the butler who bowed in front of her that so much time has passed, and she is so still hasn't come out. The butler replies that the young lady is coming down now. At this time, the president of Xiangui Yin Xiaozhu appears on the stairs, who with a gentle smile asks why her great-aunt did not warn her that she was going to come. She would have picked her up. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg bites her lip and thinks with annoyance that the ill-mannered girl who was brought by her brother is becoming more beautiful, and says that she did not want to interfere with her work, but the sun is already so high, and she is still at home. It is not surprising that things are not going well in the Xianggu branch. Very good. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru approaches her and says that she will personally explain the results of the company's activities to the board of directors, so she does not need to worry about it. Suddenly, a girl with blonde hair notices one of her great-aunt's bodyguards and realizes in horror that she met him the day she stole the formula of the medicine from the Zhu family. Since when did great-aunt suddenly decide to contact the Zhu family? It seems that this time she is plotting something evil. Out of her thoughts, she is interrupted by a woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg, who irritably asks if Yin Xiaozhu is listening to her at all. Her improved protection medicine that she gave to the family works for only 3 minutes. How could the military approve it at all? Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru waves his hand nonchalantly and says that in this case, as usual, they will refuse and they will change it for civilian use. Great-Aunt Yinping asks with displeasure who will buy it at all, except to have a drink before his wife catches him cheating. A girl with blonde hair sits on the sofa, crossing her legs, and says that as she sees, there was a market niche right away, wasn't there? A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg hopelessly grabs her head and says that this is not serious at all. Apparently she is just a beautiful girl and not very suitable for the business world. She still needs a man next to her, and if she unites with the Zhu family. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaozhu exclaims that it is already the 26th century, and she is still thinking about a marriage of convenience. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg grins and teases her, saying that she does not react so sharply because of the man who stayed with her last night. A girl with blonde hair jumps up from the sofa in embarrassment, clenching her fists, and exclaims, "What is it about bringing a man home?" She is, in fact, already 24 years old. Trying to hide her embarrassment, she starts attacking her interlocutor, saying that it's as if her great-aunt doesn't have parties all night long. Embarrassed no less than her cousin granddaughter, a woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg blushes and exclaims what nonsense she is talking. Feeling his superiority, the president of Xianggu Yin Xiaoru finishes her off, reminding her that she has heard that she has been recruiting a large number of capable men lately. 2 men in formal suits and dark glasses, who are standing behind the sofa, are already blushing, and a woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg almost screams that these are bodyguards, just bodyguards. Yin Xiaoru, realizing that she has won, sits down on the sofa again in a rather imposing pose and says that her man is also a bodyguard. However, the great-aunt also quickly recovers from defeat and immediately sees a new reason, asking if this is really a bodyguard. Why not ask him to go out and train with her bodyguard so that she can assess what he is capable of and whether he can ensure the safety of her beloved granddaughter? The blonde-haired girl thinks that Xiaogui Xuan, That unlucky little demon who just returned to the world. If he only shows his face, will definitely be in danger. Great Aunt Yin Ping will definitely not let him go and says that he has already left. But at this time, a man's voice is heard from above, who asks her who this middle-aged and ugly woman is who woke him up so early in the morning. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg jumps up from the sofa in a rage and asks who is so bold that he dares to insult his grandma. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun slowly begins to descend the stairs, and Great Aunt Yin Ping, who has fallen head over heels in love with him, asks her granddaughter that this tall handsome guy, is the same bodyguard she hired yesterday. Yin Xiaoru looks away and asks with embarrassment why he can't be a bodyguard just because he is so handsome. Great Aunt Yin Ping asks her great-granddaughter with a smile if she is sure that this handsome man is actually a competent, good and capable bodyguard. Zhanggui City President Yin Xiaozhu replies, looking away even further, that of course it is, he is very competent. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg exclaims that in this case she will not stand on ceremony, and orders a bald bodyguard in a strict suit to attack a descending man in a house suit and slippers. He immediately rushes forward. And the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun moves his fingers with a slight smile, and the bald man's body immediately begins to be modified. Horns appear on his head, and large bat wings appear behind his back. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg screams in horror that he is a biomodified person. It is urgent to protect the young mistress. The bald bodyguard screams in rage as he forced him to show his true form. Well, he will have to die. He opens his mouth and begins to form a cloud of energy. At this time, the president of Zhanggui Yin Xiaozhu rushes to the man in a house suit, who desperately asks him to stop. A powerful jet of energy hits directly at the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun, who immediately creates a reliable shield protecting both him and the girl who rushed to cover him with herself. Yin Xiaoru opens his eyes slightly and sees that the biomodified person is lying on the floor unconscious. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun thinks that this vixen so fearlessly rushed to shield him. Zhanggui City President Yin Xiaoru points his finger at the bald bodyguard lying on the floor and orders to lock him with a high-voltage lock and immediately hand him over to the ministry. However, a woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg gets in her way and exclaims that handing him over to the ministry will only complicate things, since there are so many people who are bothering the Yin family, and therefore it would be best to return him to the family and let them deal with it themselves. Zhanggui City President Yin Xiaoru asks her again and says that this family has just arranged a profitable marriage for her with the Zhu family. She is afraid that there is no time for this. Great Aunt Yin Ping laughs with effort and says that of course there is time. This boy from the Zhu family, Zhu Pengcheng, is not good for her at all. Grandma will find her a better man. She thinks that the research of biomodified people is prohibited in the army, and the military is the largest client of the Yin family, so even if the Zhu family is rich and powerful, they will not be able to intermarry. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg says that the wedding can be postponed. But there is no military medicine. She took an oath and her non-fulfillment will lead to a military tribunal. Zhanggui City President Yin Xiaoru thinks that if the development of new medicines was really that simple, she would never have gone to the Zhu family to steal, no, rather to study the medicine. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun puts one hand in his pants pocket and walks forward, saying with some disdain that military medicine, and that's all, what a trifle. He thinks maybe she's done pretending and covering for him. At this time, a loud female voice is heard, who says that he still has the audacity to call a military medicine a trifle. Everyone in the hall turns around at the sound. Yang Weiyu appears out of the air in flames, a girl with short brown hair, a large tattoo on her shoulder and a short sword on her belt, who says that, apparently, life is not very dear to him. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun looks at her appraisingly and thinks that this is very interesting. He never thought that there could be such a strong person on the planet Kanglun. However, no, not really a person. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg exclaims with a fawning smile, almost bending in half, that she is so glad to see Commander Yang, but she ignores her. Commander Yang Weiyu approaches Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun and asks if he can develop a potion that is needed for the war ministry, completely ignoring Zhanggui City President Yin Xiaoru, who asks Sister Yang to wait. A man in a house suit and slippers answers that he can. Commander Yang Weiyu asks if he dares to put his life on the line. He replies that, of course, he will dare. The girl with the big tattoo on her shoulder says that in this case everything is solved. Yin Xiaoru desperately asks Xia Guiqun not to be so reckless, but he ignores her too, while they shake hands to sign the contract. The blonde-haired girl insistently tells Sister Yang that he doesn't know anything about these studies. He's just talking nonsense. Let her not pay attention to him. She continues to be ignored. Great Aunt Yin Ping is outraged and thinks that they should listen to what people are saying and discontentedly tells Commander Yang that the development of military medicines is their family business. From a powerful blow on the cheek, a woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg flies to the wall, and Commander Yang Weiyu exclaims that the development of military medicines is a matter of the Ministry of War, and the Yin family is just a supplier who pretends to be a particularly important person. They use military supplies for intrapartum struggle. A woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg shows her narrow-minded mind, shouting that Yang Wuyu is only a half-breed of human and divine origin. How long can she hold a high position based on unspoken laws? She is engulfed in fire. And Great Aunt Yin Ping plaintively screams that she was mistaken and hysterically asks to let her go. Commander Yang Wuyu says that she will take this cyborg and let everyone else get out of here. If they don't, they will die. Servants and bodyguards quickly carry away an unconscious woman in a lilac long dress with a large neckline on her leg and run away themselves. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan thinks with some disappointment that he went down to beat someone up. But this woman stole all his scenes. Commander Yang Wuyu bitterly says that such nonsense is happening. The human race fought for survival on this planet, but only 200 years have passed, and they have already sunk to such a level. At this time, she is hugged from behind by the president of Xiangui Yin Zhaozhu, who with a sly smile asks this hothead to cool down. Commander Yang Wuyu begins to squeeze the unresisting girl by the cheeks and exclaims that they will have a separate conversation with her. There is no reagent, but she has found a lover, and besides, she asks for help with electronic identification. Yin Zhaozhu mutters that she is in pain and will work more on the reagent. The action takes place in the rich garden of the Yin family. Commander Yang Wuyu and Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu are walking along a tiled path, and the first girl exclaims in amazement that, it turns out, the Zhu family is engaged in researching biomodified people. In fact, she found out about this little secret of the Zhu family, in which she is involved when she had a chance to study the relics of the ancient gods. But the Zhu family has a military background, and it will be very difficult to have any conflict with it. Addressing the girl with blonde hair, Commander Yang Wuyu says that she will definitely need Yin Zhaozhu's help. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu smiles and says that there will be no problems with this, but what does she actually need from her? Commander Yang Wuyu cheerfully replies that all she needs from her is to seduce the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengcheng. The girl with blonde hair indignantly asks Yang Wuyu to go to hell. The action takes place in a chemical laboratory equipped with modern technologies. One of the laboratory assistants asks the head of Yin if she is sure that this will be fine. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu says that it is. Even the boiling of ancient Chinese herbs is similar to their age. The girl with blonde hair exclaims unrestrainedly that what they know at all is real alchemy. All the laboratory assistants and she herself are looking at a lonely test tube containing a lilac substance that heats up at a temperature of 666 degrees. One of the laboratory assistants, a man with black hair, says that the head of Yin uses a test tube to heat the medicine, but doesn't everyone use an oven? Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu crosses his arms over his chest and replies with displeasure that this is the latest alchemical formula, thinking how could she even believe what this little demon Xia Guiqixuan told her. The action takes place some time ago. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan and Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu are walking in the garden. A man who has already changed into a strict suit with a gray tie asks if it's not easy to reduce the main side effects of the reagent. Let them just use the ground pulp of King Tang flowers from the lake and King Hua grass. It needs to be heated for 2 hours at a constant temperature. From the memories of the president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Zhaozhu pulls out the cry of one of the laboratory staff, who exclaims that the head of Yin should take a look at it sooner. The girl with blonde hair abruptly turns her gaze to the test tube, in which a pink pill begins to form. All the laboratory staff exclaim in extreme surprise that it really worked. But how could this happen? At this time, an obviously dissatisfied employee of the laboratory and the president of the city of Xiangyu Yin Kaioju is pushed aside by an elderly scientist, who begins to examine the pill very carefully. Xiangyu City President Min Zhaozhu, unable to stand the wait, impatiently asks him if this medicine can be used. An elderly man in glasses and a white coat answers her that if all the data is correct, then this tiny pill can withstand the side effects of a ton of genetic reagents, and asks Ms. Yin if this amazing success is not the result of the activities of that new academician. Xiangyu City President Min Zhaozhu, not understanding, asks which new academician he is talking about at all. The action takes place in a botanical garden in the suburb of Xiangui. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan walks slowly through the grass and thinks that in those years when he was seriously injured by his crazy sister, it was from this area that he then went to the earth core in order to restore his strength. He would never have thought that Yin Zhaozhu would turn this place into a botanical garden. At this time, a huge lilac tiger with long claws appears behind him, which growls very menacingly and tries to attack. However, the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan forces him to abandon his bloodthirsty intentions with one blow of his fist and turn tail and fry, saying that even the poor and unhappy tiger cub has some kind of intelligence, and thinking that it is almost certainly the influence of the stagnant aura that he released during his recovery. At this time, the man with dark hair is quickly approached by the president of Xiangui Yin Zhaozhu, who, trying to catch her breath, asks what class Guiqixuan gave her the elixir. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan asks if it doesn't work. In that case, he will exchange it for another, more powerful one. There are quite a few ways to do it. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu freezes in amazement with a very strange expression on his face and thinks that no, it's not like that. But what does more powerful in many ways mean? A bracelet on the hand of a girl with blonde hair emits a notification sound, and a new message from Yang Wuyu pops up on the hologram that appears above it. The president of Xiangui City, Yin Zhaozhu, was added to the chat by the special services of the Xiangui Demon Hunter Squad, and immediately a message appears from the user number 9527, who writes that a fox has entered the chat. The user number 1024 writes that he has not seen a fox for so long. And Commander Yan is so angry since he hides his cute girlfriends because he knows perfectly well that they all do not have a pair here. The user number 1024 was banned for 10 minutes by a user under the nickname Fire. Yang Wuyu, who is hiding under this nickname, writes to number 1024 to get behind with such words. And this vixen is the one she asked to help them, so she asks Sop to leave stupid conversations and talk about business. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan asks what the word Sop means. And Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu replies that it is an abbreviation. A man with dark hair suggests in his mind that this stands for sexually anxious guys. Meanwhile, Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu turns on the video link, and Commander Yang Wuyu says that it is highly likely that the Zhu family chose this place to quietly study biomodified people in order to seize the location of ancient demonic relics. Today is the birthday of the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, and the defense of the laboratory will definitely be weakened, so this is a great opportunity for them. She doesn't need Yin Zhaozhu to keep an eye on Zhu Pengzhang, she needs to detain them, and she will take the opportunity to sneak into the Zhu family's laboratory and investigate there with her team. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu agrees and asks if Xiagui Xuan wants to go with her, especially since dinner is coming soon. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan says with a smile that such a thing cannot pass without him. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu mutters that she does not want to give Zhu Pengzhang anything good for his birthday. But the man with dark hair hears her words and says that in this case he will help her prepare a gift for this Zhu Pengzhang. He guarantees that he will die. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu happily hugs him and nods. The action takes place the next day in the house of the Zhu family. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu and Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan walk to the entrance of the building, and the man asks if they would suspect anything if he went inside with her. The girl with blonde hair replies that, of course not. With her status, isn't it normal to take a bodyguard with her, and thinks she can't believe that this guy looks even better in a suit. They approach the door. The president of the city of Xiangui Yin Zhaozhu hands the guard, who is bent almost in half, his invitation, and he politely asks the dear guests to come in. A man with dark hair keeps slightly behind his alleged mistress. As soon as they go inside, there is talk among men that Yin Zhaozhu is as beautiful as rumored, if only she were his woman. Women exclaim with envy, isn't she just a flirtatious little prostitute? And even the immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan, who is cold to women, thinks that isn't a fox beautiful. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, a young man in a white suit and with lilac hair, along with his bodyguard, approaches them and says amiably that he has not seen Zhaozhu for so long. She is still beautiful. Xiangui City President Yin Zhaozhu thanks him and hands him a red box, saying that it is a gift for him and she wishes him a happy birthday. She thinks she will let Zhu Pengzhang get carried away for a while. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, opens the box and exclaims in amazement that it is a magical weapon, taking out a small golden shield that radiates yellow energy. All his bodyguards are also looking at this miracle in amazement. And the president of Xiangui Yin Zhaozhu points his ray gun at the shield and says that everything is right. It is a protective artifact that can stop even the impact of a ray gun. She shoots, and the shield really remains intact. The guests begin to talk about the fact that this shield has such a powerful defense capability. It is at least an advanced magic weapon of a very high rank. As the number of descendants of the gods decreases, artifacts become more rare and precious, and now each magical weapon costs a fortune. And this Yin Zhaozhu actually gave it away for nothing. She's ruining her family and acting too wastefully. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, thinks that Yin Zhaozhu is just a brainless, busty woman. It's a pity he wouldn't let her off the hook even if she made even more efforts to express her good disposition to him. The action takes place in the mountains. A man in a special suit tells Commander Yang Wuyu that the Yang team has scouted that from this position it is possible to avoid all the guards of the Zhu family and get straight to the institute. Commander Yang Wuyu orders his subordinates to start, and she will cover them. Two men with the ability to control the earth come forward and bring down part of the hill, opening a passage to a secret laboratory. A girl with a big tattoo on her shoulder orders them to enter and break through the wall. After the whole team goes inside, they realize that there is no one here at all. One of the subordinates reports to Commander Yang that there is no useful information here, and, apparently, the Zhu family has cleaned up everything here for a long time. Commander Yang Wuyu says they shouldn't have, because all biological tests always leave behind a lot of traces and remnants. It is simply impossible to hide them. In other words, this laboratory is an ordinary cover. A girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder puts two fingers to the floor and informs that the real entrance is much deeper underground in a villa that belongs to the Zhu family. The action takes place in a villa that belongs to the Zhu family. All the guests are dancing animatedly. And the president of Xiangui Yin Zhaozhu says, breaking off a piece of cake, that she wants to sneak out of here and see how things are going with Sister Yang. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan asks if she is going to leave alone. However, the girl with blonde hair does not have time to answer him, as the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, approaches them and asks permission to be honored and invites Xiao Zhu to dance. Zhangui City President Yin Xiao Ru hurriedly takes his alleged bodyguard by the arm and says that she already has a dance partner and invites Gui Xuan to dance. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, asks if Xiao Ru is sure that the bodyguard can dance, because if she is ridiculed, it will be very ugly. Zhangui City President Yin Xiao Ru leads his partner to the middle of the hall and replies that she will be able to teach him if he does not know how. A girl with blonde hair takes his hands and tells him to follow her movements and not step on his feet. However, the immortal Emperor Xia Gui Xuan puts his hand on her waist with a professional movement and drops it, hovering over her and saying that he can teach her. Zhangui City President Yin Xiao Ru thinks in amazement that she can't believe that this guy can also dance. He learned especially for her. Immortal Emperor Xia Gui Xuan leads his partner in the dance and says that at first glance this dance is amazing. Beauty is part of the heavenly Tao, and if an attentive person sees it, his interpretation may even enlighten him. Zhangui City President Yin Xiao Ru thinks that she can't believe that dancing with such a beautiful girl, he can still be distracted by talking to her about enlightenment. Women who stand aside, talking among themselves, asking, and where did Yin Xiao Ru find such a beautiful bodyguard? Yes, if you invite him to dance, you can increase your prestige many times. Yes, let them give up these empty conversations. Most likely, Yin Xiao Zhu herself supports her precious. Who knows what may happen in the evening after returning from the ball? The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, clutches a nearly cracked glass in a rage and thinks that Yin Xiao Ru is definitely trying to provoke him. At this time, a man with a bow tie approaches him and informs young Mr. Zhu that someone has invaded the back entrance. A young man in a white formal suit smiles unkindly and says that it looks like it's time to part. Commander Yang Wuyu and her group walk through the underground passage. A girl with a big tattoo on her shoulder thinks that energy fluctuations are increasing with every second. They are already close to the goal. She turns around and orders her subordinates to get ready and keep up with her. With one jerk, they fly out onto the platform. Commander Yang Wuyu, in amazement and horror, does not understand how such a place can even exist underground. They stand on a platform that juts out far ahead into a large cave. There is a huge red pentagram hanging under the platform, over which 4 people in black cloaks hover, and under this pentagram there is a pond with red water in which demonic beasts are floundering. All magicians in black cloaks hold their hands in seals, engulfed in red flames. Commander Yang Wuyu exclaims that is it really a violent catalyst of the descendants of the gods, which led to the fact that these terrible demonic beasts appeared here. And who these people are. A huge bear with 2 heads is baring its teeth in rage. At this time, a female voice is heard saying that General Yang misunderstood everything. She turns around abruptly and sees a girl with long red hair floating in the air in front of her, who is dressed in a light yellow raincoat and black tights with shoes, and says that she believes that General Yang should understand that if this sea of blood continues to rise to the surface, she is afraid that even people in Zhanggu City, they will be turned into monsters. They are purifying it here, activating the formation so that all these demonic animals can withstand the harmful pneumas. Commander Yang Wuyu folds his arms and asks not to say that they are actually doing a good deed. The girl with long red hair smiles sweetly and says that this is not a question at all. They will take this sacred blood with them after they clean this place, but they have no intentions of harming anyone. After all, this way they are just cooperating with the Zhu family. However, she asks General Yang to take into account their common divine bloodline and not fight to the death, as they will leave here immediately after they finish cleaning this place. General Yang Wuyu asks if she expects her to believe it. They will obviously try to blame the gods. If this were really the case, then it would be the people who would suffer from the negative energy in the sea of blood. The girl, dressed in a light yellow raincoat and black tights with shoes, says that, after all, it is very troublesome to kill a well-known military general. Red streams of energy begin to thicken around her, and her subordinates begin to cast spells. A girl dressed in a light yellow raincoat and black tights with shoes asks Commander Yang not to refuse advice. General Yang Wuyu says that she immediately got such toys. She is engulfed in flames and a girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder rushes to attack. A young man hovers over them, who is dressed in a traditional Chinese men's suit and says that they have been chatting for so long, finally they have already started fighting. A girl with long red hair creates a lot of swords and throws them at her opponent. The young man, who is dressed in a traditional Chinese men's suit, thinks that these people really cultivate immortality since they use flying swords. All the swords are soon consumed by fire. And Commander Yang Wuyu says that this is just child's play. A young man who is dressed in a traditional Chinese men's suit thinks that she is so hot that she will burn the hair of anyone who wants to go to bed with her. General Yang Wuyu strikes a powerful blow and thinks he can't let her take it. At this time, a girl with long red hair throws her a red drop and asks her to accept it as a gift. The girl with a big tattoo on her shoulder screams that it's bad. A girl with long red hair puts her hands in print and says that as she expected from the commander of a special unit, they are definitely not her rivals. She completes the seal, and the whole sea of blood begins to gather very quickly into one small red drop. General Yang Wuyu thinks in amazement that such a large sea of blood can fit into this tiny drop. A girl in a light yellow raincoat and black tights grabs a red blood drop and exclaims that they have been purifying this drop of holy blood for many years. using these unsuspecting animals over and over again. Since Commander Yang is willing to give her body as a replacement, it will save them a lot of problems. A girl with long red hair begins to merge into a bloody red drop of holy blood. And all the people in black cloaks kneel down and congratulate the Celestial with one voice on unity with holy blood. From now on, the great Tao will be in her body, and all the descendants of the gods will bow their heads before her. All things will become one. The girl with long red hair thinks that the blood has changed. The bone marrow has been cleansed. The immortal Tao and the martial Tao are working together. The descendants of the gods do not even guess that this is the blood of their father god. When it consumes her, will they not call her mother? The immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan, who was the young man in the traditional Chinese costume, thinks that it is really his stagnant blood that poured out at the time when he was seriously injured. He flies up to the girl and asks her why she is absorbing this if she wants people to call her mother, as in that case she should call him himself. The girl in the light yellow cloak abruptly opens her eyes and quickly flies away, pulling out her sword and asking who he is, and when he appeared here, since he saw what he should not have seen, let him die. But the sword flies out of her hand, and she is horrified to think what is happening, why she can't take control of her body. A girl with long red hair falls on her knees in front of the immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan and calls him daddy, immediately not understanding why she says it. She asks a man hovering a meter from the ground in a traditional Chinese men's suit who he is, and thinks that this is really the legendary immortal spirit of God the Father, but why does she obey him from the bottom of her heart? Immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan touches both the girl with long red hair, and thinks that he did not expect that his spilled blood could have such a strong influence. And the sudden appearance of another daughter is a very troublesome matter. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit leaves a mark on his daughter's forehead and says that this is the mark of a slave. From now on he can easily find her anywhere, even if she runs away to the ninth heaven. A girl with long red hair bows her head and obeys her master, thinking that she could call him father, but how did it happen that she became a slave? Immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan sits down and crosses his legs, asking what her name is and who she is. The girl replies that her name is Lin Mozu and she is an actress by profession. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that means she is a star. And this is not surprising, since she actually looks good. He stretches out his hand to the recoiling and blushing Lin Mozu and asks her not to be afraid, but to behave well. The girl with long red hair thinks that this is the end. She has kept her innocence for more than 20 years, and now she will lose it here. Immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan is approaching her, and Lin Mozu thinks he is so close, and he is so handsome, she has a good look. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit touches her forehead with his finger and says that she should use this technique for some time in order to restore the demonic beasts that have mutated back into ordinary creatures and release them into the wild as redemption. Lin Mozu thinks that he can transfer the technique to her with just one finger. This power is simply incredible. After that, the immortal Emperor Xiaguixuan turns around and leaves, saying that this is all and he will find her when he has a new task for her. A flushed Lin Mozu asks if he's already leaving, and thinks he told her to behave in order to use her for this. What is the difference between this and drugging a young girl and sending her to the mine? The action takes place in a villa that belongs to the Zhu family. The returned young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, solemnly says that on this special day for him, he wants to do something very important. With these words, a young man in a strict white suit gets down on one knee and opens a box with a ring, asking the president of Xiangui Yinzhao Ru to marry him. A girl with long blonde hair exclaims that Zhu Pengzhang is definitely delusional. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, says that Yinzhao Ru should not be in a hurry to refuse him so quickly, because she can first contact her dear sister and thinks that there was a terrible explosion in that dungeon. Yang Wuyu should already be dead. Xiangui City President Yinzhao Zhu looks at his bracelet, on the hologram above which it is written that there is no connection with the user fire. A girl with long blonde hair screams that Zhu Pengzhang dared to attempt Commander Yang's life. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, says that she should not falsely accuse him. He just wanted to remind her that General Yang Wuyu can no longer protect her. She had better agree to his proposal, otherwise. Without finishing the sentence, the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, walks away with his bodyguards, leaving Yinzhao Ru to wonder what he is up to. A young man in a white formal suit stands in the middle of the hall and takes out a small mirror from somewhere, thanking all those who came here to the Zhu family villa to celebrate his birthday. And he has one novelty that he would like to show them all. One of the men asks what young Mr. Zhu is talking about, and he does not leave him without an answer, saying that this divine-like magic mirror reflects the very essence of all living things. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, points a mirror at a strange plant that turns into an ordinary flower and says that it is an exotic plant, but under this mirror it turned into an ordinary golden chrysanthemum. How do they think there is a chance that one of the descendants of the gods can now be among them and be reflected in his true form in this mirror? Someone does not believe that this is even possible. But other men cheerfully shout that they have been fighting with the descendants of the gods for decades. How dare they come here? If there is a descendant of the gods here, they will tear him to pieces. Xiangui City President Yinzhao Ru thinks he is threatening her because he knows she is a fox. But then she remembers about her alleged bodyguard and turns to him. A magic mirror is already pointed at the man in the dark suit, and the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzhang, thinks that he only needs to reveal this little demon, and then Yin-Zio-Ru will be accused of harboring a descendant of the gods. Then Yin-Zio-Ru will cry and beg him for protection. Come on, let this demon show itself. However, the immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun calmly stands still and nothing happens. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, is horrified to realize that the mirror does not work, and the president of Xianggu Yin-Zio-Zhu thinks what is going on here at all. Why he did not reflect in his true form? Is this mirror really just a fake? Meanwhile, the immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun takes out a similar mirror and says that he is a human, so the mirror did not work. However, he also has a similar mirror. Young Mr. Zhu's mirror should be female, and his should be male. He's been reflecting it for so long, why shouldn't he try it himself? The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, asks what's the use of looking at him, he's a human being. However, at this time, a turtle shell appears on his back, and for a while everyone is speechless, and then they begin to discuss what happened noisily. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, squints into the nearest mirror and does not understand how this could have happened at all, where only this turtle shell came from. Meanwhile, his guests begin to surround him, shouting that it was very brave for evil spirits to come here. You need to grab him faster and hand him over to the police so that they take action. We can't let him get away. The eldest of the bodyguards orders to protect the owner, and his bodyguards line up in front of the young man in a white suit, the young master of the Zhu family. Zhu Pengzheng thinks that if he is given the identity of a descendant of the gods, then everything is definitely over. He rushes to run, thinking that in no case should he be caught. But even this he fails, because the way to the stairs that leads to the second floor is blocked by the president of the city of Xianggu Yin-Zio-Zhu, who asks if he wants to slip away in the presence of a girl. She points a ray gun at him and shoots, squinting her pink eyes. The young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, in horror, snatches the magic shield she gave him and thinks that it's bad. Okay, at least this charm is with him. The shield surrounds the young man in a white suit with a golden sphere, which the bullet reaches at the same moment. The bullet hits the golden shield, but the impact breaks it and very quickly turns into ropes that entangle the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, who screamed in surprise and covered his mouth. Xianggu City President Yin-Zio-Zhu coquettishly raises a gun and says that she is an honest and reliable Yin-Zio-Zhu. And when she says that she is able to block an attack, she does so and thinks that Zhang Guiqun has prepared a very good thing. At this time, General Yang Wuyu appears at the Zhu family villa with his squad and orders a squad of hand demons of Xianggu City to quickly restore order here and take control of this place. Xianggu City President Yin-Zio-Ru happily exclaims that Sister Yang is actually fine and throws his arms around her, plaintively saying that this guy from the Zhu family actually scared her. General Yang Wuyu pats her friend on the head and asks her not to worry, because what can happen to her at all? Xianggu City President Yin-Zio-Ru says that the shell on the back of the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, is actually just an illusion. They should really grab him or return him, as they should do. The girls look at the young master of the Zhu family, Zhu Pengzheng, who is writhing on the floor and mumbling discontentedly, thinking that he cannot believe that Yin-Zio-Zhu did all this. General Yang Wuyu says it doesn't matter at all whether the turtle shell was real or not. He tried to kill the commander. She glances to the side and sees the immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun, thinking in amazement that the demon next to Sister Yin-Zio-Ru is so similar to the one who saved her from that underground cave. Xianggu City President Yin-Zio-Ru asks why she is staring at her Guiqun like that. General Yang Wuyu replies that nothing. She just wanted to ask if her boyfriend had gone somewhere recently. Xianggu City President Yin-Zio-Zhu says he didn't go anywhere, but danced with her all the time. The girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder looks down and thinks that the cultivation of that man is striking with its strength, and it will not be difficult for him to divide the soul into two parts. But in order to find out for real, you just need to throw a fishing rod, and then she follows the immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun with her eyes. The action takes place in the evening at the house of the president of the city of Xianggu Yin-Zio-Zhu. A sleepy girl with blonde hair asks why Yang Wuyu did not go to Zhu Pengzheng's interrogation and does not deal with the affairs of the Xianggu City's tame demon squad, but instead went to her house to sleep. General Yang Wuyu comes out of the shower wearing only a towel and asks if she is not happy with her. Meanwhile, the immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun is sitting on the bed in his room and reading the information from the hologram on his bracelet. A scientific and technical firm called Blue Star Technology produces alternative energy sources without environmental pollution. Designed by a famous designer named Hao Erda, unique appearance, powerful performance, can travel 1,000 kilometers on a single charge. A man with dark hair thinks that this is a floating car. It is somewhat similar to a flying sword, but much roomier and larger than it is. At this time, there is a knock on the door, and General Yang Wuyu comes in, still wearing only a towel, and asks if Mr. Zia is already asleep, without looking up from the hologram. The immortal Emperor Zhang Guiqun asks why she came here, even if he was asleep. General Yang Wuyu turns away in embarrassment and thinks that she can't flaunt everything like this fox. At this time, the president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Xiaozhu, sneezes in the bathroom and asks who there thinks so badly of her. The girl with the big tattoo on her shoulder thinks that in any case she should find out whether it was him or not. She leans over to a man in a house suit and asks what he's looking at. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan still does not look up from his hologram and replies that he is currently studying some technologies. General Yang Wuyu blushes with embarrassment, but still asks if she looks good. A man in a house suit says that this option is more informative and clicks on the hologram, completely ignoring all attempts by a girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder to seduce him. General Yang Wuyu, who did not expect this in any way, thinks in misunderstanding that she came to him in one towel and seems to have clearly indicated her intentions, but he still does not react to this in any way. She will go to the end. She needs only one touch in order to be sure of everything exactly. A girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder stretches out her hand to the shoulder of the Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan, who finally turned his head to her. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan gently stops the hand of General Yang Wuyu and says that she does not need to check him, because he is the person she is thinking about right now. General Yang Wuyu opens his mouth in amazement and thinks that he just admitted it. At this time, the president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Xiaozhu, with a glass standing on a saucer, takes out the door and cheerfully asks if he drinks juice. General Yang Wuyu and the Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan freeze in embarrassment in a not very comfortable position, and the girl with blonde hair is wondering if she is turning green. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru shakes her head and thinks that she has nothing to do with that disgusting person and asks Yang Wuyu, who is pulled away from a man in a house suit, if she really takes a shower so quickly. She thinks it's over. She's been caught red-handed and she's ashamed to show her eyes. Unable to stand it, the girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder rushes out of the room, shouting that it's time for her to go to bed. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru carefully puts a glass of juice on the bedside table and sits on the bed next to a man with dark hair, asking Mr. Xia if Yang Wuyu's hand is soft. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan replies that her hand is quite soft. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru shakes his fists and exclaims that, it turns out, she has interrupted them. She should probably give them a separate house so that General Yang and Mr. Xia have a pleasant night. In her heart, she whimpers with regret that he is not her boyfriend. She is so angry about it. The Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan remembers that before that she told him that she would give him money for a prescription. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru hands him a bracelet and plaintively exclaims that she will give them money too. The man with dark hair says that he does not need money. He saw several houses in that botanical garden. They are intended for employees of the botanical garden, right? In that case, why shouldn't she give him one of them in a remote area? Xiangui City President Yin Xiaozhu asks in amazement if he really wants to move and live in the botanical garden. The Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan replies that he really likes it there, and he will also be next door to her. A girl with long blonde hair asks again and thinks that he really has an affair with Yang Wuyu's sister. That's why he wants to move so much. No, this guy is definitely insensitive. Even if a beautiful woman was completely naked in front of him, she would most likely be kicked out. The action takes place the next morning at the house of the president of the city of Xiangui Yin Xiaozhu. The girl with long blonde hair says that Xia Guiqixuan looks at her and does not take his eyes off. It's because he thinks she is very beautiful, right? Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan calmly replies, bringing fried toast to his mouth, that it's none of her business, even if she is actually very beautiful. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru says that now that he has finished posing as her boyfriend and the prescription of the military protective medicine is ready, he can go live in the garden right now. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan says that he just thinks that she is a woman who lives alone and without any protection. She needs to be able to protect herself, so he keeps an eye on her, whether she wants to learn the art of immortals. The president of Xiangui City, Yin Xiaozhu, lights up in admiration and thinks that this guy does as he pleases. However, the transformation technique is quite fun, and there is also a levitation technique and a summoning technique. A girl with long blonde hair says that she would really like to start learning this, but in that case, she needs a teacher. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan says that he just sees in her a good innate fox abilities. It's a pity to waste them, but she is not suitable for him as a student. The president of the city of Xiangui, Yin Xiaozhu, says with displeasure that she has not called him a teacher yet, and he is already sighing so long. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan tells her to come over so that he can test her potential and find the right Tao for her. He puts his arm around the blonde-haired girl's waist and says that in the end, it's a pity to waste the fox's talent. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru exclaims that if he wanted to touch her so much, he could have just said, he pretends not to take students, but maybe he's just afraid that he won't be able to do anything about the teacher-student taboo. At this time, the Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan throws the blonde-haired girl on the sofa with energy, and she exclaims that this guy just threw her out. Robots roll up to the president of the city of Xiangui Yin Xiaozhu and squeak that cultivation has been noticed. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaozhu exclaims in fright that she keeps all the remote controls. How does he control them at all? A man in a homemade suit with a dinosaur on his chest asks if she has heard about the puppet technique and calmly sips coffee from his cup. He sits impressively on the sofa and crosses his legs, saying in the tone of a mentor that you only need to study properly. and then all the plants and animals in the botanical garden can become her guards at her call. Even a blade of grass can bind her enemy. Jiangyu City President Min Xiaoru exclaims with joy that she really wants to learn this. Invisible fists hit Jiangyu City President Yin Xiaozhu on the head, and she cries out in displeasure. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan tells her to train properly. It would be very good if her little spiritual power could influence at least one robot for some time. It is extremely rare for true immortal cultivators to reach the Kai and Yuan realm in 3,000 years. And people do it in just 100 years thanks to the path of genetic evolution. However, the cultivation of the immortal Tao is based on the fact that the spirit and body are very limited, and the mind is infinite. The lifespan in theory may not have an end. If someone does not want a human body, there is no problem, you can just change the body shell. The immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan throws a green jade tablet into the hands of the president of Zhangui Yin Xiaoru and explains that this is a technique that he created specifically for her. A girl with long blonde hair catches her and exclaims that he just pulled out a jade tablet from somewhere. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan hands her a ring with a green stone and tells her that this ring is for storage and she can consider it a welcome gift. Zhangui City President Yin Xiaoru takes the ring and begins to examine it, thinking about the marriage proposal and starting to imagine himself in the arms of the immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan. Immediately, a girl with long blonde hair shakes her head in embarrassment and thinks that it is impossible to move so fast. The action takes place in a botanical garden in the suburb of Zhangui. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan walks along the path to the gray house with 2 floors and thinks that this place is quite large, and it is also surrounded by forest and mountains, calm and pleasant to live here. The man with dark hair says that from now on this will be his place to live and turns the house into a traditional Zaihiyuan. The immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan enters the veranda with his hands in his pockets and sits down at a covered tea table, beckoning a fat tiger to him. The beast runs up to the man with dark hair with a growl, who pats him on the head and tells him not to worry. After all, he is his creator. He will give him some energy to absorb if he guards the main entrance for him. He thinks that as for the fox Yin Xiaoru, she was born with a divine bloodline that was created for enlightenment. In the future she can turn into a 9-tailed fox, but most likely, in order to get a successful result, he will have to constantly give her pills. The action takes place in a cave. Lin Mozu is standing on all fours not far from a huge cauldron that is completely engulfed in fire and thinks that this is an incredible treasure. Most likely, if she decides to use it to prepare pills, she will be able to increase their level even with the help of ordinary medicinal means. What that guy wanted when he called her here. At this time, the immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan appears next to the girl with long red hair, and she joyfully greets her master. He says that she absolutely did the right thing, that she did not come any closer to him, otherwise the repulsive ability that he radiates would have been enough to kill her. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan throws Lin Mozu a piece of paper and says that some materials are written on it in order to make weapons and pills. She must find a batch for him, and let her mark what she cannot find. The girl with long red hair obediently obeys. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit asks what the cultivation level of the senior members of her Heavenly Path sect is and whether she herself possesses the highest technique. Lin Mozu replies that the cultivation of their founder is unfathomable and only he can master the techniques of the highest level. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan says that there is no problem. He will show her the technique of the highest levels when she can become a master of the Heavenly Path sect. Lin Mozu thanks her master and says that she really wants to become a master of the Heavenly Path sect, but she asks the master to remove the slave seal from her after she pays off all the debt, because being a sect master who is someone's slave is no better than not being a master sex in general. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit picks up a girl with long red hair by the chin and says that she is already his slave, so why on earth does she think she can bargain with him? The girl replies that if so, then Mozu can only obey him. But how can she contact the owner if she gets a higher level technique? The immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan says that if she says Xiagui Xuan's words to herself 3 times, he will immediately know. Ling Mozu thinks in awe that if he finds out, if she says his name to herself 3 times, how can not only God have such power? Who is he really? Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan receives an incoming call from a fox cub, and the hologram highlights the excited face of the president of Zhangui Yin Xiaoru, who nervously exclaims that they have had trouble. The Zhu family claimed that the reagents presented by the Yin family were stolen research results of the Zhu family, and they sued the Yin family. Lin Mozu, in extreme amazement, recognizes Yin Xiaozhu in the talking girl and thinks that he really is the lover she supports. In any case, the image is spoiled. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan discontentedly asks why on earth they dared to say so. That recipe was completely presented by the Association of Immortal Cultivators and thinks that this forces the Association of Immortal Cultivators to directly side with the Yin family, and all allies to break with them. Zhangui City President Yin Xiaoru shakes his fists in rage and says that someone from the Zhu family must have analyzed the formula of the medicine and then used his connection. But now the Yin family is accusing her and demanding that she come back now. Immortal Emperor Xiagui Xuan asks her not to be angry, as tomorrow he will return with her to the capital and support her. Zhangui City President Yin Xiaozhu thanks him with admiration. The action takes place in the capital the next day. A girl with long blonde hair and a man wearing a windbreaker and a raincoat get out of the car. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru puts the car in a bracelet and hurries after the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan, who did not wait for her, saying with concern that there are so many people in the capital. Her identity as a descendant of the gods will not be revealed by anyone. A man dressed in a windbreaker and a raincoat says that it is already ready and hands his companion a necklace with a purple crystal, saying that it is a magic weapon for disguise. When she puts it on herself, no one will be able to reveal her identity as a descendant of the gods. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaozhu fusses in embarrassment and puts on a piece of jewelry. She thinks, and why does he always give her that ring, that necklace? At least he knows what it means to give a girl something like that. The couple approaches the Yin family's house, and the robot at the entrance scans her, saying that the identification is complete and young Mrs. Yin can pass. At the entrance to the house, they are met by several guards in white uniforms and glasses, led by a captain named Wu Yang. Captain Wu Yang says that young Lady Yin can enter, but outsiders are not allowed to enter. The president of the city, Xiangui, with discontent, rudely orders him to get out, since some guard cannot forbid her to bring her boyfriend, as if every guy is allowed to come to her house. The guard, perplexed, is already ready to let them in, not knowing what to do and not daring to contradict the young lady. But at this time, a heart-rending scream is heard from behind the closed glass door, ordering this kept man to be removed from here. The guards are happy that now they can accurately act in accordance with the order, begin to stretch their hands. Captain Wu Yang rushes to attack the immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan, but he throws him right into the glass door with one blow of his finger, which shatters with a bang. One of the guards bends over his commander in horror and says that Captain Wu is a strong genetic fighter of the 3rd stage, but he was sent flying with just one finger. Everyone sitting in the hall looks in fright at the couple who comes inside through the hole. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru thinks that it is so cruel, but she feels so safe when he is next to her that she is not afraid of any check by 3 instances. A man in glasses and a suit asks in anger how they dare to arrange such a thing. They actually think they can run around the capital just because they have a little strength. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru arrogantly asks if this old man is talking about himself. A man with glasses is almost choking with indignation, but he is interrupted by a man with black hair and dressed in a man's kai-pao with a dragon on his chest, who is sitting at the head of the table, saying that there are enough squabbles. The Great Xia has always been a place where strength is above all, so he believes that there is nothing wrong with that this man threw out that little shrimp. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru rests his palm on the table and asks how dare he not fight back when other families openly mock them, but instead puts the blame on a relative because their family is too weak. A man dressed in a male kai-pao with a dragon on his chest asks Xiaoru not to be angry because they are actually in an emergency right now. A man dressed in a man's kai-pao with a dragon on his chest recalls that a few days ago there was a sign of the dragon king moon in the sky, and the struggle between the descendants of the gods, who had been plotting against each other all this time, stopped in order to properly prepare for the arrival of God the Father. And as soon as God the Father comes to the descendants of the gods and becomes their single leader, a war between them and the human race will simply become inevitable. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru says he wants people to think that she just stole a prescription for a protective medicine from the Zhu family and doesn't want people to think that she is in any way related to the descendants of the gods. A man dressed in a man's kai-pao with a dragon on his chest says with a smile that everything is right and asks her to pay the Zhu family a fortune. Wouldn't it be better to keep them in the spotlight all the time? In compensation for this injustice, the Yin family decided to give her the role of executive vice president of a virtual games company. A man in glasses and a suit in horror asks Elder Yin to think twice, because this is their main source of income. The elder of the Yin family in a rage orders him to shut his mouth. Has he finished bullying his descendants yet? Does he really think that he has such a high reputation and thinks that this guy Xiaoru looks very strong? It is very likely that he is a descendant of gods above the late stage of Tenggong. Tie him to the Yin family, because when the wind changes, the descendants of the gods will become a real treasure. The action takes place in a hotel. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan presses the TV switch on the remote and exclaims with a laugh that he cannot believe that the Yin Chanterelle family is not so stupid. Xiangui Yin City President Xiaoru says she wanted to help him take his soul away. But who would have thought that the Yin family elder was also planning to dig a hole for the Zhu family? However, she always believed that the Yin family was stupid, and then with arguments and awareness of their own rightness, it would be possible to simply break up with them and avoid so many problems. After all, she has only been a fake member of the Yin family since childhood, and even her parents don't know who she really is. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan is chewing chips with an impassive face, and a girl with long blonde hair asks indignantly if Xiaogui Xuan doesn't see that she is depressed. She can't believe he's just watching TV. However, after seeing a popular actress on the screen, the president of Xiangui Yin Xiaozhu forgets about his alleged depression and exclaims that this series by Lin Mozu about the Taikang period of the Xia dynasty is a very rare sight. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan phlegmatically says that he will be able to see how someone else will play him. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru suddenly exclaims that this seems to be a filmed adaptation of the novel about the Xia dynasty that she is currently finishing reading. The man with dark hair says that, however, the shooting is very good quality. But why is Xia Taikang nowhere to be seen? Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru suggests that this is because all the actors are not beautiful enough to match the original description of this character. After all, in the original novel, the main character and heroine are praised as if they are immortal in the 9 heavens. Where else can you find actors similar to them? However, he could look like the real Xia Taikang if he played. Immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan exclaims that playing himself would be a great idea and disappears. Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru shouts in amazement that Xia Guichuan has disappeared so suddenly. Smelly cracker, is he really going to leave her here alone? A man with dark hair appears in front of Lin Mozu walking along a busy street, who immediately bows in front of the owner. People look at them in surprise. Immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan asks her not to be nervous, because he just wants to ask how you can get the main role in the series in which she is currently filming, whether they need an actor. Lin Mozu says that she has already bought some of the copyright for her recent series. If he wants to act, she can approve it and thinks that he really appeared in the middle of the night just for this. The man in the raincoat and windbreaker smiles, saying that it turns out to be so simple. Then let her prepare everything. He wants to play the role of Xia Taikang. Still amazed, the girl with long red hair replies that Mozu will do whatever is required for the host. She presses her bracelet and exclaims that in this case she will ask the owner to become an actor under her. A hologram of the contract appears above the bracelet, and Lin Mozu thinks with some happiness that if he signs this contract, he will become her slave in a sense, right? The action takes place the next day at the shooting studio. Lin Mozu and the immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan, dressed in a traditional Chinese men's suit, enter the hall under the astonished stares of the staff. A girl with long red hair orders one of the employees, who is bowing in front of them, to tell the team of screenwriters to correct the script of Xia Taikang for the audition of a new actor. She obediently submits to Mrs. Lin. A stout man with glasses walks into the studio door and exclaims that they have everything ready. He enthusiastically starts reading out the script, saying that the king and his ministers are hunting for a tiger, and Zua rushes in a rage at Taikang. This is a martial arts scene, and it will perfectly demonstrate the charm of young Mrs. Lin. The actors exclaim what they have done with the plot. Let them not change it blindly. Immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan asks if Xia Taikang did not pierce a tiger with one arrow as many as 18 times. Lin Mozu exclaims that the same thing was said in the original novel. How can a tiger attack the king at all when he and his subjects are hunting? The adaptation still does not allow them to change the plot as they please. A fat man with glasses sadly submits to young Mrs. Lin and thinks that he hopes that the fans will not scatter if he falls once. The action takes place on the set. The immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan, in perplexity, asks what is this green background? Where is the grass and the tiger? A fat man with glasses explains to him that he only needs to fall once, and they will do the rest themselves a little later. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit points his finger out the window and asks if there is grass on the street. A fat man with glasses replies that there is grass there, but there are no tigers. Immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan thinks that this is not how he imagined the safari from Xia Taikang's story and says that the absence of tigers is very easy to fix. He pulls out of the air a fat lilac tiger eating a bone under a tree, which is very surprised by this. The screenwriter recoils in horror to the door and shouts where he got this mutated tiger from. He doesn't bite. The actor calmly replies, holding the tiger by the withers, that he does not bite. At this time, Lin Mozu approaches them in a suit and asks a fat man with glasses to try, because it will be more realistic. Shooting begins. Zua and Xia Taikang are walking arm in arm through the forest. At this time, a rabid lilac tiger rushes out of the bushes at them, and a girl with long red hair hides in horror behind her companion, who throws the tiger aside with one kick, for some reason also changing the location from the forest to the city. Lin Mozu and a stout man with glasses exclaim in one voice that it was completely different in the script. Immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan chuckles and says it's reflexes. By the way, the real Xia Taikang should be like this. The screenwriter wrote nonsense. Xia Taikang is lying on the couch and trying to drink from the kettle. In front of him, Zua is kneeling on one knee, who says that His Majesty hunted and feasted day and night, ignoring everything around him. The people are greatly alarmed, and all the ministers are in turmoil. Xia Taikang turns his head and says that a group of slaves disobeyed and sacrificed to heaven. A girl with long red hair tries to say something, but the emperor does not listen to her, saying that he was asked to choose a concubine. He heard about a eunuch from a poor family, what she thinks about it. Tears flow from Zua's eyes. The entire film crew, led by a stout man with glasses, applauds the immortal Emperor Xia Guichuan, and the screenwriter exclaims that acting skills and temperament are simply amazing, as if Taikang himself came down to them. Does he want to? At this time, Lin Mozu tells him not to ask too much. They need to take a break from work, and he thinks that the owner can go far in this matter. An employee of the film studio approaches her and says very emotionally that at today's Senate meeting, Xiangui City President Yin Xiaoru apologized to the Zhu family for stealing the formula of a military protective medicine, and after that the Zhu family was accused of colluding with the descendants of God. Lin Mozu says that it is necessary to sever all ties with the Zhu family as soon as possible, but she will take care of this later. Meanwhile, General Yang Wuyu hovers in flames over the burning secret laboratory of the Zhu family. The members of the Zhu family look around in horror. and a gray-haired, long-haired man in a rage asks how dare Yang Wu Yu burn his family's property. A young man with blue eyes and blonde hair appears on the ruins of buildings, dressed in a white sweater and beige raincoat, and says that this is his order. Is there really any problem? Behind him are armed soldiers in blue uniforms. The gray-haired man replies that even Deputy Commander Gong Sun has no right to burn private property for no reason. Deputy Commander Gong Sun indignantly points to the modified people who are lying under the IVs, and asks if these are not enough. The gray-haired man grins and says that this is just a small study on the modification of the human body. How can the deputy commander accuse him of colluding with the descendants of the gods? A young man dressed in a white sweater and a beige raincoat exclaims that for this kind of research, the gene of a descendant of the gods is necessarily needed. How can they do this without colluding with them? The man of the Zhu family says that there are many mysterious things in the world, so he will ask them to show proof. Zhang Gui Yinzai Ozhu, the president of the city, appears on the ruins, holding a test tube with a lilac substance in her hand, and exclaims that this is the necessary evidence, since it is a serum that she stole from the Zhu family. The soldiers and a member of the Zhu family turn to her in amazement. The crowd begins to talk about the fact that if the Zhu family has the blood of a descendant of the gods, then this accusation was brought absolutely on the case. That's right, it is banned from distribution. Even in the capital it is not. They must have a shared secret with the descendants of the gods. Deputy Commander Gong Song orders his military to take aim at a member of the Zhu family, who asks them to stop because this is clearly a lie. Zhang Gui City President Yinzai Ozhu exclaims that she stole the serum formula from their family. Does he really think that the military is so stupid? It's no secret that the formula of the protective military medicine belonged to them. A member of the Zhu family exclaims that the Association of Immortal Cultivators has the necessary evidence. A girl in a white dress and a cap appears on the ruins. The military looks at her in love and says that they can't prove it since the association has nothing to do with the Zhu family. Let him stop talking nonsense. The gray-haired man is furious, thinking what is wrong with the Association of Immortal Cultivators, why they turned away from them at the right moment. Meanwhile, General Yang Wu Yu descends to Earth, who cheerfully says that it is very easy to prove who actually owns this serum. Let them just check for fingerprints. Zhang Gui City President Yinzai Ozhu exclaims that no one except her and the Zhu family has touched this vial of serum. She lifts the test tube over her head and cheerfully says that the nurse should check it. At this time, a stream of black Kai is rapidly rushing to the hand of a girl with long blonde hair, in which a test tube is clamped. General Yang Wu Yu rushes to her, but she raises her hand with the ring that the immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan gave her and then dispels all the black Kai. Zhang Gui City President Yinzai Ozhu exclaims with joy that she is safe and examines the ring, saying that it also has such an effect. General Yang Wu Yu shouts that someone wants to destroy the evidence and rushes up with his squad. When they reach the right place, it's too late. Deputy Commander Gong Sun says with displeasure to Zhu Hongyi that the only ones capable of such an attack are either the gods or the alien civilization Celtic. He furiously hovers over the gray-haired man and asks if there is nothing more to say. Zhu Hongyi exclaims in horror that he really has nothing to do with this and thinks it's over. A young man dressed in a white sweater and beige raincoat tells the military that the Zhu family is guilty of collusion with the enemy. They must be captured and court-martialed. The immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan, invisible to anyone, is watching everything and thinks that that black Kai did not belong to a descendant of Liu Jai. Is it possible that someone else is hiding behind the scenes? Well, it's time to go home anyway. The action takes place at the hotel the next day. Zhang Gui City President Yinzai Oru runs into the room of a man with dark hair and thanks him for the ring he gave her yesterday. How can she thank him? Immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan asks if she was hurt while dealing with the enemy. Zhang Yu City President Yinzai Ozhu says that with the help of a virtual game, the Patriarch contacted Deputy Commander Gong Song, and the Zhu family was completely destroyed. Immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan asks how the game is related to the Patriarch. Zhang Yu City President Yinzai Oru says she only knows that the military is monitoring this game in order to select worthy candidates, and at least a third of Zhang Yu's tame demon unit is selected in this way. A man in a windbreaker and raincoat incredulously asks what kind of game this is. Zhang Yu City President Yinzai Oru cheerfully says that if he wants to play it, she will teach him when they return to Zhang Yu. And now their journey is over and it's time for them to get ready to go home. A girl with long blonde hair starts packing her things, but the immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan says that let her come back first, and he needs to stay here for another 2 days and make a movie. A man with dark hair suddenly exclaims that the video came out so fast and clicks on his bracelet. An inscription is displayed on the hologram that a big summer event has been updated and episode 15 has been uploaded. Zhang Yu City President Yinzai Oru approaches him with interest and asks what it is. While the immortal Emperor Xia Guixuan uploads a video, a girl with long blonde hair reads comments from women who say that she has never seen such beautiful men. This is definitely the best Tai Kang. In today's series, the newcomer is so handsome. He is so handsome that her soul is burning. Such an indifferent and evil nature, it's unbelievable. If she were Zooer, she would lick him. The couple is accepted to watch an episode of the series. A lilac tiger rushes at Xia Tai Kang and Zooer, but the man, without flinching an eye, fights his opponent, hugging the girl to him. Zooer reaches for a kiss, snuggling up to Xia Tai Kang. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru thinks her heart is full of love, but as the main character Xia Guiqun, Xia Taikang, meanwhile, hugs Zuer, who has wrapped her arms around his neck and bends down to her lips. The president of Xiangyu City shouts in a rage, like a jealous wife, that Xia Guiqun really came to the capital with her in order to get closer to celebrity. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun throws up his hands and says that it was she who suggested him to act. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru grabs him by the collar and exclaims that in that case, from now on, she will be his manager. Let him show her his contract so that she will make sure that he was not deceived. The man with dark hair is wondering when she managed to become his manager. From behind the door, a voice is heard informing young lady Yin Xiaoru that the finance minister has come to visit the Yin family and wanted to see her. A girl with long blonde hair asks who it is and why she doesn't know anything about it. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun says with a grin that she accuses him of attracting bees and butterflies, but she herself is not inferior to him in this. Attracting bees and butterflies is Chinese Chengyu, which means being popular with the opposite sex. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru asks if he is not angry at all. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun thinks that as she said, he is just her conditional boyfriend and suggests that she go together. The action takes place in the house of the Yin family. Finance Minister Zhao, an elderly man with bushy eyebrows, sits very impressively on the sofa and familiarly addresses Yin Xiaoru's father, calling him Brother Yin and saying that today he found out that his family has such a wonderful descendant. He can't stop thinking about this girl. Standing behind the back of the sofa, a tall, plump young man, Zhao Gongjai, rubs his sweaty palms with a satisfied smile and asks his father to help him. A member of the Yin family replies that he will have to refuse them, since Yin Xiaoru already has a boyfriend. Finance Minister Zhao says it doesn't matter. They have seen his documents. He is just a vassal of the Yin family, who has been taught by them since childhood. At this time, the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun enters the room, holding the arm of the president of Xiangyu Yin Xiaoru, who exclaims with displeasure, "What do they care who she likes? They are very good together. Let them go." Zhao Gongjai roughly pokes a finger at a man in a windbreaker and raincoat and says that he is just a servant and nothing more. Sooner or later young lady Yin will realize that this is not true love. The immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun asks if true love means banging on the door. Zhao Gongjai raises his voice in annoyance and exclaims that this is normal, because young lady Xiaoru should have feelings only for him, and the longer they are together, the faster she will forget him. A man in a windbreaker and a raincoat exclaims, "How can you be so shameless at all?" A girl with long blonde hair says that he is lying to himself. Finance Minister Zhao touches his chin and says that his son is completely right. The Yin family should know who they should take as a son-in-law, an ordinary servant or a young master of the Zhao family. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru rolls his eyes and wonders when he managed to become a son-in-law. At this time, a side door opens, and Lin Mozu enters the room, who exclaims that this son-in-law is not suitable for the Yin family. Finance Minister Zhao and Zhao Gongjai exclaim in amazement. What is the young lady of the Lin family doing here and bow before her, thinking, isn't this the senator's daughter? What is she doing here? Is it possible that the servant is the son-in-law of the god of war? Lin Mozu coldly says that Xia Guiqun is her partner in the filming of a film about Xia Taikang. Soon he will become a real star, who will be chaste, as someone like him can be the son-in-law of some Yin family. Addressing the president of Xiangyu Yin Xiaoru, the girl with long red hair says that some have eyes, but they cannot distinguish gold. In any case, she and the young master of the Zhao family, Zhao Gongjai, will be happy together. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru indignantly says that no one told them that he was her son-in-law. In fact, he is her ex-husband. She blushes deeply and thinks he doesn't even deserve to be a guy. Zhao Gongjai tries to call out to young lady Yin and thinks that after all, he is actually the son of the finance minister, so there is no point in ignoring him. The president of Xiangyu Yin Xiaoru and Lin Mozu exclaim in one voice with irritation, "What else is he doing here? Let him get out of here." Zhao Gongjai looks at them in shock. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun turns to Lin Mozu walking behind him and says that she is here on a completely different matter. She confirms it. Finance Minister Zhao, the young master of the Zhao family, Zhao Gongjai, and Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru wonder who this Lin Mozu is that followed him. A girl with long red hair kneels down and calls the owner. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun asks if she is building all these illusions just because he has been so kind to her for the past 2 days. Lin Mozu bends even lower and says that just because the servant forgot her place, she asks to punish his master. The master wants the same thing as the mistress. The servant should not interfere in this. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun says that no one has the right to decide anything on his behalf. They will discuss the punishment later, but for now she must rise, since Yin Xiaoru is here. As soon as Lin Mozu gets to her feet, Xiangyu Yin Xiaoru, the president of Xiang City, barges through the door and shouts that she is his agent. Their acting company is going to use people, but for this they need to deal with her first. A girl with long red hair calmly opens the text of the contract and says that if she wants to read it, then let her read it, but it's still too late to find fault. In the contract, the first paragraph says that the company undertakes to allocate a special team of assistants to the artist and take care of all expenses. The second paragraph says that all operating expenses, as well as the costs associated with the promotion of the actor, are borne by the company. The third paragraph says that all income is divided between the company and the actor does not need to pay any other fees. The fourth paragraph says that the actor can reject an unreasonable request from the company. The jaw of a girl with long blonde hair is hanging down, and she thinks that isn't this contract too much for them to incur big losses. Even for real stars, they don't organize this, do they? Lin Mo-zu holds out a blue bag and says that this is the material he instructed her to buy. If he doesn't need anything else from her, she will leave here immediately. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun stretches out his hand and tells her to wait a bit, as he has something for her. He quickly forms a sword-enhancing pill, and Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaozhu exclaims in surprise that he is just holding an improvement tool in his hands. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun says that she is on the path of sword cultivation and this pill is just for her. It will help her lay the foundations and become a guiding star for her heart. Lin Mo-zu takes the pill and asks if he wanted her to find the materials for this pill and thinks she is not a servant. How could he? The man in the windbreaker and raincoat says that he didn't want anything from her to begin with. Soon Lin Mo-zu leaves, and the president of Xiangyu City, Yin Xiaozhu, says that their relationship with her is a little different from what she imagined. But if he lacks raw materials for cultivation so much, why didn't he turn to her for help? Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun knocks her on the head and tells her that the rest of the materials are for her. Otherwise, when will she, the little fox, finally be able to soar into the heavens? Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaozhu says that her family is very nice. Now Lin Mo-zu probably doesn't have time to shoot, so wouldn't he like to go home with her? He agrees. The action takes place after one day. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaozhu shows Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun his playroom and asks if he wants to play virtual games. A man in a raincoat and windbreaker looks at a device that resembles a capsule and a washing machine at the same time, and asks how this thing works, because you need to lie down in it. There is a comfortable chair inside the capsule. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaozhu says that you just need to get inside, determine your strength level and turn on automatic matching. He can figure it out, and she will go. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun thinks that the human genetic warriors are using this to cultivate a great opportunity to sort it all out. The entrance to the game begins, and after 3 seconds the man finds himself on a green field, where he is led by the hand of Lin Mo-zu. A girl with long red hair greets him affably and says that she will recheck his physical form and his current status. The Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun thinks that he did not expect that it was Lin Mo-zu who would voice all this. At this time, a girl with long red hair hangs, and a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit realizes that his level is too high and is beyond the understanding of this machine. He decides to simulate the physical strength of an ordinary guard, and Lin Mo-zu says that he is a level 3 warrior. His specialty is strength and resilience. A user change has been detected, whether he needs to select a section and move an offline point. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun folds his arms and says that there is no need and let her enter directly. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun is transported to another area and immediately realizes that there is something completely wrong, noticing that he is right next to the women's bath. The girls also notice him very quickly and start calling for help and shouting that there was a pervert here somehow, and they need to catch him as soon as possible. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun hides very quickly and thinks, is this fox really taking a bath in the game? How can she relax in such a place? Meanwhile, the girls who were in the bath run up to the shelter of a man with long dark hair with a gun in his hands and vying with each other to ask where he is. He runs pretty fast. But what does the system say that a man has just come to them? How can he even come here? But the system claims that it was a woman. One of the girls says that this man actually had long hair. She is told that such strength and muscles, a powerful back and arms like a gorilla, and she also says that he can be mistaken for a girl. The action takes place 10 minutes later. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun crawls out of the ground and thinks that he barely broke away from them. If not for his power control, which far exceeds their level, these girls would have caught him long ago. By the way, he can't even remember the last time he ran away from someone so quickly. It's very interesting. At this time, a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit steps on a trap that almost collapses over him, but he manages to destroy it. Immediately, a girl with blonde hair and glasses jumps at him from behind the bushes, who is armed with a broken sword and dressed in white armor. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun easily stops her attack and asks what this girl is doing and why she set up an ambush here. Thinking that if you remember what just happened in the women's bath, it does not seem surprising that they decided to attack him at all. A girl with blonde hair and glasses says that she only wanted to test his abilities. Recently, she was stuck in one location for a long time and therefore wanted to find a player like him in order for him to help her in battle. If he helps them get through this location, he will be able to choose whatever he wants. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that it sounds interesting enough and therefore he agrees to try it and thinks that this is a great opportunity to learn as much as possible about this strange game. A girl with blonde hair and glasses happily says that in this case she will send an invitation to the team. A blue notification window pops up in front of the Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun, which says that he has been invited to the team, and he clicks on the button called Accept. They are immediately transferred to a location called Bon Chilling, an abandoned mound, a mountainous desert. A dark archer named Ning Ning, a girl with long flowing brown hair, dressed in a top and shorts and wearing a bow on her back, and an elementalist named Sai Lu, a girl with long brown hair gathered in a high ponytail and dressed in a short dress. holding a long staff, waving their hands and shouting that they're here. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun asks who these two girls are. A girl with blonde hair and glasses replies that she hired them because she thought they would still need help during the passage. Dark Archer Ning Ning and Elementalist Sai Lua exclaim with admiration that this is Xia Tai Kang. He was the one who starred in the movie with Lin Mozu. Elementalist Sai Lua shouts that if they had told her that she would have to fight alongside Xia Tai Kang, she would have paid them herself. Dark Archer Ning Ning shouts that she is a devoted fan of Brother Tai Kang and rushes at him along with another girl. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun tries to stop them, telling them to wait. Where did they get so much enthusiasm from? The girls, however, do not listen to him and grab him by both hands, hugging him with joy. The girl with blonde hair and glasses says with surprise that she didn't even notice. It turns out that he is the actor who played the role of Xia Tai Kang. Outwardly, he actually looks like him, but now she doesn't know how to react. Dark Archer Ning Ning enthusiastically asks if she also watched a TV series called Da Zio's Past. A girl with blonde hair and glasses replies that this is a book she wrote. Now all three of them open their mouths in amazement and ask if she is really the same Zio Mei, the author of a book called Zio Mayo. Zio Mei says with some embarrassment that she didn't know she was so popular and asks where he is going. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun approaches the portal and says, turning around, that he is going to help them pass this location so that they can return back and become even stronger. Dark Archer Ning Ning exclaims that he should wait for them. Before that she was offline and she did not manage to face the boss. Let him not be so impulsive. The action takes place inside a giant battleship. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit appears right in front of a huge red and black boss. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun rushes forward very quickly and easily destroys the boss core. The rest of his team members enter the battleship just at the moment when the monster breaks into pieces, and a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit flies away from him. The elementalist Sai Lua exclaims that he is so strong and handsome. The Dark Archer Ning Ning, who stands slightly behind everyone, presses her palm to her mouth and exclaims in disbelief, did he just kill this monster? Zio Mei is silent from amazement. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit approaches her and asks if there is anything else to be done here. A girl with blonde hair and glasses looks at the hologram above her bracelet and replies that despite the fact that the boss has already been destroyed, this mission is not over yet. According to the plot of the game, the mission is connected with the interstellar war. The combat spaceship FGT-14 was captured by the monsters of the Zelter race. Now they are playing the role of a special unit that must regain control of the spaceship FGT-14 and destroy the nest of monsters of the Zelter race. Zio Mei takes out a red crystal from somewhere and goes to the control panel, inserting this crystal into place. A blue notification window pops up, which says that the automatic reboot process has been started. At this time, a voice is heard from the speakers, which informs that a large number of unidentified creatures are coming and everyone should take their positions. A squad of creatures in ochre-colored armor enters the door. The Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun begins to destroy them, but the Dark Archer Ning Ning throws him some kind of weapon, shouting for Brother Xia Tai Kang to use it. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit is surprised to say that this is a Gauss cannon. He fires one shot, and one of the attackers disintegrates into molecules. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun exclaims that this is a high-tech weapon that splits everything into molecules. Not bad, however. After taking another shot, a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit finishes off a squad of unidentified creatures. At this time, a voice is heard from the speaker, which says that the console will soon be repaired and the operating system is about to be launched. Change the route of movement and create a new plan. Zio Mei presses somewhere and exclaims that they need to go ahead, right into the nest of monsters of the Zelter race. The spacecraft FGT-14 abruptly takes off and flies straight into the purple moving cloud, destroying it. A voice from the speaker says that the mission is completed. The level of passage was SSS. The location is perfectly cleaned. An additional reward is being issued. The whole team returns to the mountainous desert. An elementalist Sai Lua says with disbelief that it took them only 2 minutes to complete this level from the beginning to the end, didn't it? Dark Archer Ning Ning exclaims with admiration that she also said that Brother Xia Tai Kang is so strong. Zio Mei says that it was a level 4 strength boss. How in that case could he handle him in just a few seconds if he was only at level 3 strength? A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit answers that everything is very simple, since absolutely every living being has its weak points and he directed all his efforts at them. A girl with blonde hair and glasses exclaims that he did not direct his forces at vulnerable points, he just flattened him. Zio Mei says that he is so strong, it is a pity that he does not serve for the good of his country. He would not like to join a special military unit. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that this is impossible, but he has one request. Let Xia Tai Kang and her book not bother Chan Yi. She has to help him change the plot. Zio Mei replies that this is completely unacceptable. She, as an author, cannot just take and change the whole story, although she can still add a couple of things to the plot in order for him to be satisfied. A girl with blonde hair and glasses giggles quite a lot. Zio Mei says goodbye to his team and exits the game. The action takes place in the real world in a tall building. Deputy Commander Gong Sun is sitting in a chair and looking at something on a tablet. General Yang Wuyu salutes him behind his back and says that the substitute teacher was looking for her. That's why she's here. A young man with blonde hair and glasses shows a girl with a large tattoo on her shoulder the screen of his tablet. on which a frame from the series about Xia Taikang is visible, and asks if she has watched this video and what she thinks about it. The acting of this man is at a very high level, and it seems to him that he is just doing a great job with the role of his character. As for Lin Mozu, he doesn't think so anymore. General Yang Wuyu is wondering why the deputy teacher is so slow today. Meanwhile, a young man with blonde hair and glasses asks if Yang Wuyu knows this man. She replies that this is Xia Guiqixuan, the boyfriend of the president of Zhang Yuyan Xiao Ru. Of course, she knows him. Deputy Commander Gongsong says that right now the surveillance department of the game called Interstellar Wars is reporting to him that Xia Guiqixuan is now playing as a warrior of level 3 strength. As he is informed, he is strong enough. People like him are very much needed in their special division of manual demons of Xiangyu City, and since she knows Xia Guiqixuan well, it would be wise if she invited him to the special division of manual demons of Xiangyu City. General Yang Wuyu salutes him and replies that she is proceeding to carry out the order. The action takes place in the house of the president of Xiangyu Yanzai. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan exits the game called Interstellar Wars and climbs out of the game booth, thinking that this virtual game has given him a truly unique experience. He should go and see what the little fox is doing right now. A man in a windbreaker and a raincoat enters the room of the president of Xiangyu Yanzai and sees that she is engaged in meditation. The girl with long blonde hair opens her eyes and asks how long Xia Guiqixuan has been in the game and let him tell her honestly. He quit the game because he was not interested or because the girl with glasses no longer wants him. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan asks her how she knows that there was a girl with glasses in the game recently. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru looks away and exclaims, "Has he forgotten that she is a fox spirit?" Of course, she knows everything and thinks that she is the vice president of a virtual games production company. Does he think that it's hard for her to find out what he is there engaged? The girl with long blonde hair jumps off the bed and asks to stop talking about it and how about playing together and completing a few game tasks. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan says that she must have forgotten that there is only one gaming booth in this house. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru wraps his arms around his neck and says that the design of their company's gaming booths is very convenient to use, and 2 people can easily fit in a cabin that is designed for one, whether he wants to try it. At this time, a system alert arrives, which says that he has a new video request. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan receives a video call from General Yang Wuyu, and she cheerfully tells him that her boss very suddenly ordered her to invite him to their special military unit of the Hand Demons of Xiangyu City. What he thinks about becoming their consultant. Xiangyu City President Xiaoru shakes his fists in indignation and exclaims whether she really wants a member of her Yin family to become her subordinate. But how dare she? Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan puts his hands on the shoulders of a girl with long blonde hair and replies that he has already agreed to join them, and therefore he agrees to be their consultant. He thinks Xiaomei is actually in the army. Otherwise, General Yang Wuyu wouldn't have found him so quickly, almost immediately after he quit the game. General Yang Wuyu exclaims with enthusiasm and joy that the information will be immediately entered into his dossier, and she thinks that the family will dare to say that he is their son-in-law again. Let them see his true power in action. By the way, before she goes offline, she asks permission to give him one little piece of advice. Since Xia Taikang is the emperor, there will be absolutely nothing strange if he has a lot of concubines. She recommends him to change the part with Lin Mozu and shoot a bed scene. Meanwhile, Zhang Yuyan Xiaoru, the president of the city, gets into the conversation and shouts in a rage that this is not this kind of video, that she even thought of herself there. A girl with a big tattoo on her shoulder giggles and says that her mission has already been successfully completed, and she goes offline. After the call ends, Zhang Yuyan Xiaoru, the president of Xiang City, sadly looks down and says that now he is a rising star and a senior officer, and she, a little fox, is of no use at all now. The immortal emperor Xia Guiqixuan is led to her manipulation and gently pats her on the head, telling her not to say such nonsense, since he does not make friends based only on their benefit. Let her just keep developing and cultivating in the same spirit. Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru lowers his gaze and agrees with embarrassment. The action takes place a week later. Lin Mozu cultivates in the mountains and reaches a new level. A girl with long red hair exclaims with admiration that thanks to the parting words given to her by Master Xia Guiqixuan, she is making progress in improving the technique of swordsmanship with just kilometer steps, and today there was a real breakthrough. At this time, the immortal emperor Xia Guiqixuan comes to her and says that this is all because she is very talented and is ideally suited to follow the path of the sword. Lin Mozu immediately falls to her knees in front of him and exclaims that she does not know how she can repay Master Xia Guiqixuan, and he also has to punish her for her past transgression. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan lifts the chin of a girl with long red hair and says that if you can say that, then she really owes him for the scene that she refused to shoot with him. Lin Mozu jumps to her feet and exclaims that she will arrange everything now and invites him to go straight to the last dialogue. Meanwhile, a notification arrives on the bracelet of the immortal emperor Xia Guiqixuan, which says that the chapter of the history of Dazio has just been updated. A girl with long red hair exclaims that she can't believe that the story has just been updated by the author. They must be obliged to film it this very minute. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan opens a new chapter in the history of Dazio, in which it is written that His Excellency should not. Xia Taikang asks if he is not as good as Hen Yi. Xia Taikang's eyes are so unusual and tender that you can easily drown in them and never understand his true intention. And at this moment the characters are kissing. The girl grabs Xia Taikang by the collar and pulls him to her, and Xia Taikang bends down to her and helps her take off her clothes. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan blushes deeply and thinks, is this really the changes promised to him by Xiaomei in the plot of her book that he should have liked so much? So this is her doing. A man with dark hair scratches his head and says that if the plot embarrasses her so much, they don't have to shoot it at all. Lin Mozu lowers her head a little in resignation and tells the master that everything is fine. As actors, they should play their role. Thinking about how she should be, you need to first wrap your arms around him and hug him. This is her first kiss. The action takes place on the set. Zuer exclaims that if Hengyi can't, then she can. Emperor Xia Taikang asks if she is sure if she can handle it. Lin Mozu is very embarrassed, but despite this, she pulls Emperor Xia Taikang by the skirts of his outer clothes to her and kisses him on the lips. After that, she puts her hands on his shoulders and asks if she really doesn't look as good as Hengyi. The immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan, following the plot of Xiaomei's novel called Desio, puts his hands on the waist of a girl with long red hair and pulls her to him. At this time, a girl in a white shirt and trousers approaches them and in a rage shouts into a megaphone what this guy is going to do with their chairman Lin. Addressing Lin Mozu, the girl with short black hair shouts that this man is deliberately using her for his own selfish purposes. A girl with long red hair exclaims indignantly that what she says is pure nonsense. Of course, she does it only because she really wants it. A girl with short black hair exclaims that this is her first bed scene in her career. She has never filmed such a drama before. Enraged, Lin Mozu can't stand it and shouts at her to shut up and do her job, thinking, let her not spoil her plans. The action takes place at the headquarters of the Special Military Unit of the Manual Demons of Xiangyu City. There are a lot of military personnel in the corridor of the building, and a military man quickly runs into the office where General Yang Wuyu and Deputy Commander Gong Song are located and asks for permission to report. He is the deputy master on the southwest coast. A strange beast suddenly rose from the sea and began to destroy mountains and cities all along its way. They suspect that it is somehow connected with the ancient gods. The action takes place on the set. General Yang Wuyu comes inside and attracts the attention of all employees. Lin Mozu asks what miracle brought General Yang Wuyu here, without paying any attention to her. The girl with a large tattoo on her neck asks the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan that didn't he mention last time that he knew about the movements of the gods. The southwest coast is crawling with monsters right now. Doesn't he want to go with her right now in order to see it all for himself? Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that since this is the order of the elder, he cannot disobey in any way. General Yang Wuyu finally takes a look at Lin Mozu and says that the matter is very urgent, so let him quickly say goodbye to his girlfriend and go with her right now. The action takes place on the southwest coast. Everywhere there are heavily armed military, planes and spaceships that attack a large yellow dragon that has crawled out of the sea. They are shouting on the ship that they need to retreat urgently, as it is already too late. One of the sailors screams in horror and impotence that this is just terrible, and how they even need to fight with gods of the Kaiyan Yuan level. Meanwhile, General Yang Wuyu rushes at the dragon of the Kaiyan Yuan level, engulfed in fire, and shouts that they provide this monster to her. They shout to her that the commander has arrived here. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan, completely invisible, sits on a cloud and thinks that this Yang Wuyu, as before, is very belligerent. Red rays come out of the dragon's eyes. But a girl with a big tattoo on her neck dodges them and shouts that these rays are so powerful that they could easily break through the coastal defense line. Then why is he still here? The dragon says he only came here to convince General Yang Wuyu to surrender. She had been in the capital for so long that they had to resort to such a trick just to lure General Yang Wuyu to the southwest coast. She went very far out to sea in pursuit of him and is now in great danger, although she may not realize it. As a result, it will take at least 5 minutes for those people who have to cover her to get to her. General Yang Wuyu asks, so what? The dragon asks why she clings to this human world so much, not to mention that. The dragon says that since the appearance of the sign of the dragon Kang Moon in the sky over the planet Kang Moon, they built an altar in honor of the father of all the gods and called him for 49 and 77 days. Finally, he descended to them. As a descendant of the Scarlet Bird, does she not want to worship the father of all the gods and join them in order to restore their homeland, which was taken from them by people? General Yang Wuyu asks in amazement if God the Father has come down to them. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan, who is still watching them, wonders in disbelief if he is joking. Did he appear at that altar? General Yang Wuyu asks if he is not afraid that she will tell people that the father of all gods is approaching. The dragon answers the question with a question and asks if General Yang Wuyu, even if humanity is ready for the coming of God the Father, does she think that people will be able to stop him for at least a minute? General Yang Wuyu thinks that the father of all gods is definitely Taikin. If he comes here with full strength, then humanity simply will not have the slightest chance. The dragon says that General Yang Wuyu herself knows that if she loses her vigilance for even a minute and does not enlist the support of the Gongsong family, she will become an object for human research and will be placed in a laboratory. And he thinks she knows how many people would like to betray and kill her, doesn't he? All she needs to do in order to become a minister of her country is to bow before the father of all gods and serve him faithfully. General Yang Wuyu exclaims that he is mistaken. Does he really believe that only Gong Song has a good disposition towards her? She fought for this country for many hundreds of years, and many people remember it. She grew up on this land. This is her home. Even if the father of all gods himself came down here and he wants to destroy this city, let him discuss it with her spear first. If he has already said everything he wanted, let him return to where he came from. They will fight again when the father of all gods comes. The dragon begins to sink under the water and finally says that Commander Yang Wuyu will soon realize which side she should have chosen, and he is sure that she will change her mind. He is hiding in a water funnel. A girl with a large tattoo on her neck is approached by warships, and a soldier flies up to her from one of them, asking Commander Yang Wuyu if the battle is over, although, apart from the first explosion, there was no battle. General Yang Wuyu says that they were not in a hurry, and if they had fought to the death, sweat is streaming down the soldier's face. But he answers, a little haltingly, that they had to first report to the headquarters that the battle had begun, and only then begin the rescue operation. General Yang Wuyu ironically asks if they condescended to help her and says that he wants to see the superiors. Meanwhile, the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan descends to the bottom of the ocean in a golden glow, and the spirit of the turtle kneels before him, greeting the father of all the gods and thinking that he could not be mistaken, since this aura is transmitted through their bloodline. But what about that dragon? The immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan says that it looks like the father of all gods he was talking about is really himself. At first, he was completely sure that his divine divination was so strong that he would immediately recognize it, and he could not even imagine that an impostor could appear. The spirit of the turtle bows his head and says that he has shown himself only at 49 and 77 summons in a row. It was a blue dragon, and its aura was very similar to that of the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit smiles and says that it looks like someone deliberately staged such a scene and asks if he knows why he didn't join them right after he came down. The spirit of the turtle bends even lower and says that he does not dare to guess the will of the father of all the gods. The mortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan puts his hand to his forehead and replies that this is because as soon as he appeared to them, they would kneel and immediately serve him. And what should he do with them? Watch them fight with people, capture new and new stars, attack the race Zelda, and crush the whole galaxy under themselves. The turtle's spirit asks in amazement if there is any problem with this. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqixuan says with fatigue that he has been emperor for so long and has done the same thing over and over and over again. It's better to be an ordinary person and experience their modern technologies. The spirit of the turtle thinks that the father of all the gods, it turns out, is not at all what he imagined him to be. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit appears behind the turtle spirit and touches its horns, saying that he has a bad feeling about what happened today, whether he really came here just to lure General Yang Wuyu. He replies that he would not dare to tell lies to the father of all gods. They also have their own spies among people, and if they staged a very small provocation among people, they could easily undermine their trust in General Yang Wuyu. After that, it would be possible to make an attack on a very large scale. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit exclaims that maybe he has such a premonition because General Yang Wuyu will be killed by his own compatriots. However, he shouldn't underestimate this woman so much. The action takes place in the command center of the southwest coast. General Yang Wuyu goes inside and walks into a large and long hall. There is an expensive leather sofa against its far wall, and the path to it is guarded by many soldiers in white uniforms. Sitting on the sofa is the commander of the southwest coast surnamed Zhang, a very stout man dressed in a white military uniform that looks very sloppy, along with two girls who are dressed very frivolously. One of them, a girl with dark hair, dressed in a white dress, feeds the commander of the southwest coast with chips, and the other, a girl with long blonde hair, dressed in a red swimsuit, fanning a man in a white military uniform with a fan. General Yang Wuyu approaches the commander of the southwest coast Zhang and asks him if he was the one who gave the soldiers the order to fight to the last drop of blood. There was a real massacre. The commander of the southwest coast, Zhang, eats chips that a girl with dark hair puts in his mouth, and only after some time finally turns to the girl with a big tattoo on her neck and says with a grin that his duty is only to prevent the beast from breaking inside on the coast. And here with her he did a great job. Changing the subject very abruptly, Commander Zhang of the southwest coast asks if she is dating that demon, or maybe she is in cahoots with him at all. General Yang Wuyu, who did not expect such impudence, indignantly asks how he dares to say that. Having made some conclusions of his own, the commander of the southwest coast Zhang suddenly jumps up from his sofa, greatly scaring his girls, and shouts that General Yang Wuyu secretly communicated with the gods who are their enemy. She must be eliminated now. All the soldiers take a girl with a big tattoo on her shoulder in their sights. Undeterred by this, General Yang Wuyu tries to somehow awaken the slightest mental activity in the commander of the southwest coast Zhang and says that this dragon did not actually retreat anywhere at all. He just waits for them to do something stupid and attack them again. Commander Zhang of the southwest coast approaches her, putting one hand in his pants pocket, and says that when Commander Yang Wuyu gets to the military court, even he will not be able to imagine how many people will want her to die. He tries to take a girl with a big tattoo on her neck by the chin and greedily says that if she agrees to cooperate with him, then maybe he will clap for her. General Yang Wu-yu, impatient, forcefully slaps the man with blonde hair on the cheek so that he retreats a few steps and shouts at him to moderate his ardor and get out. Southwest Coast Commander Zhang grabs his cheek and in a rage shouts to his subordinates to grab her and tie her up. He will see if he can tame her. General Yang Wu-yu throws up his hand and exclaims that she is very disappointed in him. The soldiers start shouting that a former member of the 7th Squadron of the 4th Division of the Star Guard is waiting for further instructions from General Yang. A former member of the Assault Unit No. 76 is waiting for further instructions from General Yang. The former division of the East China Sea Guard is asking permission to report. The girls on the sofa look at them in horror. And the commander of the Southwest Coast, Zhang, shouts in amazement that this is wrong, they should obey only him, what they want. The soldiers take aim at him, and General Yang Wu-yu orders them to capture this man. 2 men grab the commander of the Southwest Coast Zhang by the arms, and he shouts that now General Yang Wu-yu will be regarded only as a rebel, let her wait until they come for her and she will die a terrible death. A girl with a big tattoo on her neck says with contempt that, apparently, because of his simply boundless vanity, he managed to forget his place. He reminds him that she is an important army officer, and this position is much higher than his. According to the rules of wartime, she has the right to take this place under her control in order to continue to hold the defense. General Yang Wu-yu turns around and leaves, ordering his subordinates to throw this man behind bars, since she no longer wants to listen to his nonsense that he carries with his dirty mouth. Let them also tell the deputy commander-in-chief to prepare the troops for departure. Meanwhile, one of the soldiers exclaims to his comrades to tie up the commander of the Southwest Coast Zhang, whom they knocked to the floor. Did they not hear what General Yang Wu-yu said? She does not want to listen to his piggy squeal. He takes off one of his boots and begins to pull off a clearly smelly and stale sock from his foot. Commander Zhang of the Southwest Coast screams in horror what he is going to do with him. But how dare he do this to Commander Zhang of the Southwest Coast? A soldier pushes his dirty sock into the bloodshot eyes of a man in a white military uniform and exclaims that he is a corrupt official and it has always been disgusting to look at someone like him. Soon, he goes out onto the veranda where General Yang Wu-yu is standing and reports to her that the commander of the Southwest Coast, Zhang, has been taken into custody by them and is at their complete disposal, which they now need to do. The girl with a large tattoo on her neck, without turning around, replies that she has already provided all the necessary information to the deputy commander and is now waiting for his further instructions. She thinks that the father of all the gods has already descended to Earth and they need to do something urgently. General Yang Wu-yu continues, saying that they need to regroup and prepare suitable weapons. Now this line of defense will be completely useless. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the sea, the immortal Emperor Xiaoguiq Xuan asks why they didn't land directly on the mainland. Given how strong the gods of the Cayenne Yuan level are, why are they hiding here at the bottom of the ocean? The spirit of the turtle replies that the reason lies in the fact that as soon as they would enter into an open confrontation with people, they would use everything they have at all. In other words, as soon as they can take human cities under their control, people will do everything to destroy these places with nuclear explosions and other weapons when they leave. There will be no winner in this fight, as there will simply be nothing left to fight for. Immortal Emperor Xiaoguiq Xuan says that they are very reasonable, but in that case, what are they going to do this time? The spirit of the turtle replies that their plans did not include destroying this country at all. Everyone, of course, had their own goals, but they fought for territories and resources. This time, the dragon god needs a pearl in order to get into the kingdom of Taikin. In ancient times, they were produced right here, which is why they should capture this place. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit exclaims that if he has already reached even the kingdom of Taikin, then the next step will be a battle to destroy this whole country. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit exclaims whether he even understands what it means to wage a war of annihilation. What he was just thinking about when he came here to fight. The turtle spirit, trembling with horror before the wrath of the father of all gods, asks him for forgiveness. He only recently came here and did not have time to figure everything out. He only heard that people are ruthless and merciless when they are very angry and believed that it would only be a war for territory. He understands correctly that the father of all gods treats very badly those gods who have gone over to the side of people. They talk very badly about these gods. Immortal Emperor Xiaoguiq Xuan says it's true, but he doesn't think it's their fault. He is absolutely sure that someone here is deliberately trying their best to heat up relations between people and gods. Most likely something very important happened on the planet Kanglun 24 years ago. And if this issue is not settled, it will be very difficult to come to an agreement between people and gods. The turtle spirit still doesn't understand anything and asks the father of all the gods why he is so interested in the world. Because if he likes modern technologies that people have created so much, then he can very easily destroy all of humanity and play them as much as he wants. Immortal Emperor Xiaoguiq Xuan exclaims that they are also his descendants. People are preparing for war, and the gods are planning an attack and landing on the mainland. And both sides are sharpening knives and trying to destroy each other, as he thinks how terrible it looks to him. As if his own children are fighting among themselves. Like a father, he can barely restrain himself and not finish him off. The spirit of the turtle very quickly hides in the shell and squeaks from there that it is not necessary. He must talk to General Yang Wu-yu, she will understand the whole situation, and he is in the house. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit releases the turtle spirit and turns around. asking if there is a cultivator behind him who is in charge of this battle. Let him take him to him. A large dragon floats to the surface and carries the immortal Emperor Guiquen on his shell. After some time of swimming, a very bright glow appears on the horizon, and a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit twitches with excitement and exclaims that he is one step late. An altar begins to float out of the water, and the immortal Emperor Guiquen jumps to his feet. The action takes place in the command center. General Yang Wuyu orders to activate a protective network against waves called air-to-air and prepare photon cannon. At this time, the officer shouts that a giant whale has appeared in the sea. This is the kingdom of Cayenne Yuan, and it is so big. The giant whale easily throws the Coast Guard ships to the sides. And General Yang Wuyu quickly moves away from the monitor, ordering to urgently notify the groups on the coast that an earthquake is possible soon. Let them take appropriate measures immediately. The officer anxiously asks what she is going to do. A girl with a big tattoo on her neck exclaims to all the air fighters to cover her. She will be 30 miles away in the direction of 5 o'clock. Let them prepare for battle and destroy it. General Yang Wuyu rushes to attack the giant whale. The fighters that flew up after them also join the battle. Immortal Emperor Guiquen, invisible and intangible, hovers in the air and says with pleasure that the battle between technology and immortal techniques is not often seen. It is a truly unique battle. The spirit of the turtle asks with incomprehension if he is going to help one of the parties, because the father of all the gods said that he wants to stop the war, but in the end he just watches it for half a day. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that there is no need for his help, since their forces are approximately equal to each other and therefore they will not be able to defeat each other, and he does not want to miss all the fun. However, there is one thing that he still cannot understand: why the gods started this war at all. If they cannot be sure of their victory in any way, is he really missing something? The turtle's spirit screams in horror that he told the father of all the gods everything he knew. He dares not hide anything. The immortal Emperor Guiquen says that he knows this, that he simply wouldn't have the courage to do it. He gets to his feet. The sky above his head begins to darken. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit smiles and says that later he will ask him about those people who are now above them. They are approaching. Immortal Emperor Guiquen thinks that this is the third level of the formless realm, or a follower of the path of magic. A man in dark blue clothes and with hair in the form of snakes asks why Luan Chu does not participate in the battle, although he was so eager to fight before, if he wants him to kill him and take command. The turtle spirit Luan Chu hides in horror behind the back of the immortal Emperor Guiquen and exclaims that this is the second priest and he is definitely finished now. The father of all gods must protect him, because it is because of him that he does not participate in the war. Immortal Emperor Guiquen tells Luan Chu not to worry so much. But he doesn't want people to know his real identity yet. He knows what to do. The turtle spirit Luan Chu comes forward and tells the second priest, who is floating in the air, that he did not want to delay even a second, but all because this man prevented him from joining the fight. A man with hair in the form of snakes clenches his fists and asks if there is a formless kingdom among people now too. He dares to ask who he is. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit answers that he is the messenger of people. He wants to see their father of all gods, as he needs to discuss very important issues with him and thinks if he wants to test him, he is still too weak for this. A drop of sweat runs down the face of the second priest and he thinks that with this man, he has only reached the early stage of the formless kingdom. But no matter how you look, he directly radiates power from himself. The snake-haired man asks if he wants to make peace. He can assume that the main commander Gongsong is still alive, and therefore he is only here. Immortal Emperor Guiquen thinks, do they really think that Gongsong should die? So that's it. That's why they are landing their troops in this way. Their main target all this time has been the main commander Gongsun Jai, and as soon as he is eliminated, people will literally be beheaded and they will have to surrender to the mercy of the gods anyway. In this way, it all makes sense. At this time, his name is heard in his head. And a man in a traditional Chinese men's suit thinks that his little servant is calling him by mental connection. They need to check if Gongsun Jai is okay. Immortal Emperor Guiquen separates his body and spirit and is carried away. Meanwhile, the body cheerfully apologizes for being distracted and asks what the name of this second priest is. The astonished second priest replies that his name is Lin Yuan. The body is represented by the movie star Guiquen. At the same time, Lin Mozu fights with a girl with long blonde hair and exclaims that she has already said everything. She refuses. Even if she is a puppet, she will not be able to exist separately and would rather die. A girl in a black cloak points a sword at her and exclaims that there is just a huge difference in strength between them and she will have tens of thousands of ways to make her obey her. Meanwhile, the spirit of the immortal Emperor Guiquen appears and snatches the sword from the hand of the girl in the black cloak, saying that it is the same sword called Tao Tai. He thought he lost it in the void a long time ago, but it is still here. Lin Mozu starts to get up from the ground, leaning on the sword, and happily says that he can actually hear her call. He did not deceive her. Let him save her sooner. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit asks if he has ever deceived her. The girl in the black cloak asks who he is in general and why he appeared in the form of a divided soul. How does he even know what kind of sword she has? She thinks that the separated souls have very, very great power. Is this person from the Kain Yuan kingdom? And the sword called Tao Tai is somehow connected with him. She clearly feels it. Could it be the father of all the gods? Lin Mozu, feeling the support of the immortal emperor Xia Guiqxuan, shouts that this woman bullied her. She forced her to help the gods kill Gong Songchai. Please let him deal with her instead. The girl with long blonde hair and wearing a raincoat thinks in horror that Lin Mozu is without any doubt not under the control of the mind right now, and this can only mean that the father of all gods is behind her now. If the father of all the gods gets mad at her, she will definitely be finished. Fortunately, only his spirit is here, and his body is somewhere else, so she thinks that she has a slim chance of being able to escape. But the idea fails, and the girl in the black cloak falls to the ground. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan approaches her and says that if she were from the formless realm, she would have a chance to escape. And since all her abilities are created in his image and likeness, she is a descendant of Tao and cannot free herself from his shackles. The girl with blonde hair mutters that she was very wrong and asks the father of all gods to forgive her and asks what will happen to her. A blasphemer if she tries to escape again. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit asks if they don't consider it blasphemy to resist him. Because they invent these stupid rules themselves, don't they? He believes that the desire to gain freedom and the desire to go beyond is a trait that is inherent in Taoism and all followers of the way of Tao, on the contrary. He would understand and attempt to escape, but she must explain to him how she dared to take his name and enjoy his fame, without shame deceive his descendants in order to realize her selfish desires. That's what her fault is. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan turns to a girl with long red hair and asks what kind of punishment she thinks this girl deserves. Lin Mozu exclaims joyfully that she wants the master to put a slave mark on her too. The girl with blonde hair in despair and tears shouts that she is ready to accept her fate and faithfully serve the father of all the gods. But after all, the planet Kanglun was originally inhabited only by gods, and now most of it is inhabited by people. And all they want is to unite all the gods scattered around the planet and return what belongs to them by right, unless this is something selfish. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan takes the earphone out of his ear and says he doesn't care because she was just used and she didn't really know what she was doing anyway. Let them rather listen to what happened while they were talking. From the earpiece, enveloped in orange energy, a very excited voice is heard shouting that someone killed the main commander Gong Sunjai. Let everyone go to the eastern part of the city urgently. He repeats, everyone needs to go to the eastern part of the city urgently. A girl with long blonde hair exclaims in horror that she is not at all to blame for this. It's really not her doing. And even if someone really controlled her, she would never dare to do such a thing without the permission of the father of all gods. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit calms her down, saying that he knows perfectly well that she did not do it at all, and not even the gods. Someone is standing behind the scenes and pulling the strings, and he is trying his best to find him. But now it does not matter at all whether this murder succeeded or not. People will in any case lay all the blame on the gods, and a war of annihilation can begin at any moment. Absolutely, this whole situation was very carefully planned by someone. Now that she has found out about everything, let her help him figure it all out, since he is too lazy to be distracted by something. Swords are flying at Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai from all sides, and the military is shouting that there are flying swords again and it is urgent to protect Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai. A young man with blonde hair and blue eyes is sitting on the ground and no longer has time to dodge the swords. But at this time the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan appears and with one blow of his sword called Tao Tai breaks them all. Turning to Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai, the man with dark long hair smiles and says that it took some time, but he is glad that he was able to catch up with him. A young man with blonde hair and blue eyes opens them wide and thinks that Xia Guiqxuan saved him, blushing a little. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that he would like to report to Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai that he would like to report to him about this assassination attempt, and he hopes that they will have the opportunity to talk about it one-on-one a little later. Soldiers rush to the young man with blue eyes and blonde hair from all sides and anxiously ask if the Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai is injured. He replies that everything is fine and they don't need to worry. One of the soldiers in a rage shouts that there are so many of these demons and they are ready to fight them to the death. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai exclaims that he is talking such nonsense. Until the investigation is completed, he should report to the head of state that the whole situation is under their strict control and the rest should follow him to headquarters. And when he comes back, he's going to talk to Captain Xia one-on-one. He forbids anyone to interfere, and even if the main commander Gong Sunjai himself comes, they have to stop him. There is a rather serious wound on the back of the young man with blue eyes, and the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan, who is standing behind him, thinks that a level 3 soldier remains absolutely calm even after receiving such an injury. It is interesting that he does not give in to panic at all and continues to think soberly even at such a moment. What? It is not for nothing that he holds the post of Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai. They enter the building, and Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai says that there is no one else here. They can start their conversation. A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says to come out and show him who the real killer was. Lin Mozu and a girl with long blonde hair appear out of thin air, dragging a dead man by the cloak. A girl in a black raincoat throws the former murderer to the floor with disgust and exclaims that they could not deliver him alive in any way, since he sealed his soul and destroyed his essence on his own. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai looks closely at the dead man and says that this form indicates that he is from the Society of Immortals, which is known as the Heavenly Way, which means that the person who attempted to kill him is actually of divine origin. The girl with long blonde hair says that's not quite right. It's an elder of the Heavenly Way sect, a man who was a cultivator and perfected his skills at the top of Hangyang Mountain. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai tears off his cloak and sees that it's not quite a person. He exclaims that it looks like it's a spy who's been turned. And in fact, they're all gods in disguise. The father of all the gods actually has amazing abilities. He does not know how many more he has converted in this way. But when he finds all his powers, it will echo on every one of his followers, and he fears that this attempt will only be the beginning. The girl with long blonde hair says that as far as she knows, this attempt was ordered by the elder himself and has nothing to do with the affairs of the Heavenly Way sect. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai asks who this girl is and how she knows about the affairs of the Heavenly Way sect. She exclaims indignantly that she is actually the head of this very sect of the Heavenly Way and one of the 4 priests. Her name is Shang Tsao. Why is he looking at her like that? Does he really not believe her? A man in a traditional Chinese men's suit says that in fact there is no evidence of this at all right now. And even if Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai even believes it, it is very unlikely that the rest of humanity will do the same. He puts 2 fingers to the neck of the murdered spy and says that it's time to find out the whole story. Let the elder himself and him tell everything. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai asks if Captain Xia Guiqun wants to explore this man's soul. But how? After all, he has already passed away, and now it will be absolutely impossible to do it. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun says that even though his soul was shattered into small pieces, nothing in this world can destroy time, which means that now he will look into the past of this person. In the memoirs of the former assassin of the main commander of the army, Gong Sun-jai, a man tells a man sitting at a table littered with documents that the search for the bloodline of the gods that remained in Dasha was unsuccessful. They could not find the daughter of the king, whom they suspect. Despite the fact that the president of Xiangyu City, Yin Xiao-ru, may be a fox spirit, she is a very lazy and completely carefree person who does not strive for strength. She is just a stupid girl. Even if she is a true descendant, he does not want her to become a queen. They should not say anything to the father of all gods and leave Yin Xiao-ru alone. Let her continue to enjoy her calm and measured life. They just won't interfere anywhere. All those who watch the vision think what it is at all. The immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun thinks that this comment from the elder that the president of Xiangyu Yin Xiao-ru is a stupid girl, he really likes. The deputy chief commander of the army, Gong Sun-jai, thinks that he has never heard of such a technique as going back in time and thinks that Xia Guiqun's powers are completely incomprehensible and even the gods of the Heavenly Path sect respect him. What kind of person is he? At this time, the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Tsao, appears in the vision, and the elder of the Heavenly Way sect bows before her, saying that the Zelts are here again. If the main commander Gong Sun-jai does not die soon, humanity will never be able to fall. Therefore, the Overlord must deal with the main commander Gong Sun-jai as soon as possible. The head of the Heavenly Path sect, Shang Tsao, says that instead of killing the main commander Gong Sun-jai, she would prefer to take control of him in order to use him for her own purposes. It's not so hard to take control of a third-level fighter of strength. And she also forbids anyone to perform actions without her order. The elder of the Heavenly Way sect tells the man in the black cloak that the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Tsao, did not approve of the idea of killing the main commander Gong Sun-jai. She believes that the time has not yet come for this and he can still be very useful to them. The man in the black raincoat asks what exactly he means. The elder of the Heavenly Way sect replies that the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Tsao, is waiting for a suitable opportunity to take the next step. The man in the black cloak grabs the elder of the Heavenly Way sect by the head and says that the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Tsao, wants to wait, but he does not want that at all. At this point, the vision is interrupted, and the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqun says that he has not yet fully regained all his strength, so he could easily miss some details, but he believes that they already understood everything. The mind of the elder of the Heavenly Path sect was taken under control by a being of the Zelter race, and the attempt had nothing to do with the gods at all. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sun-jai nervously nods to him and thinks that this power of his simply cannot but terrify. He is capable of going back in time without being at the limit of his capabilities. Who else could it be but the father of all gods? He just has to ask him about it. But if this is really the case, then he does not know which side the father of all the gods is on. It is probably better not to ask him now, especially if he sided with the descendants of the gods. He now needs to pretend that he has not understood anything and does not know who Xia Guiqun really is. The head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Tsao, says that even though he was incited and simply used as a puppet, he remained faithful to his faith and the father of all gods to the end. She screams, how can he even remain so calm at the sight of the death of his devoted follower? Did he just squeeze all the benefits out of him without a trace and now throw it away like unnecessary garbage? In that case, what is the difference between him and the Zelts? He continues to talk about justice and neutrality, but in the end he still takes the side of people. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan asks what she suggests to do if this person has already passed into another world. Lin Mozu exclaims that she did not ignore him at all, but simply wanted to return his soul, which, by the way, was destroyed because of the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao. All three of them look at them in amazement. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that the Zelts use the technique of changing the form of consciousness, which scatters a person's soul through his body so that it cannot be combined in any way. But it does not disappear at the same time. An elder of the Heavenly Path sect can still be brought back to life if you find a way to assemble his soul into one. At first, he was not at all sure that he deserved to be saved at all, because not all people are the same and not everyone deserves a second chance at all. But now he already sees that this person was simply used, and he also had a very kind heart. In addition, he is satisfied with his assessment of the president of the city of Xiangyu Yanzai Ru. Of course, he will not sit idly by now. The unification of the soul requires for itself a special herb called Bright Night. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, catches the gaze of Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai and thinks that this look means that he wants him to get them all out of here. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that the head of the Heavenly Path sect and Lin Mozu will go in search of this herb called Bright Night. Together they will be able to cope with it quickly. When the girls leave the room, a man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that they have left and now he can tell him whatever he wanted. But before that, he must take off his clothes. Clearly expecting anything but this, Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai exclaims why he is asking him to take off his clothes. The Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan calmly replies that everything is fine and there is nothing unnatural about nudity. The confused Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai thinks that this is really very hard. In fact, nothing bothers him at all. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, bends down to a young man with blue eyes and blonde hair and asks if an adult man is afraid of being seen without clothes, thinking that if he only pretends to be a man, he is ready to play along with him a little. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai says that, as he knows, he is the Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai, and therefore is not obliged to take off his clothes for no reason. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that he has a severe wound on his back. Doesn't it hurt him at all? He's just going to cure him. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai asks if he could not immediately tell about the treatment. A young man with blue eyes and blonde hair takes off the top of his clothes and lies on his stomach on the couch. There is indeed a large wound on his back, and he thanks Captain Xia Guiqxuan. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that his wound is actually much heavier than he thought. The willpower of Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai deserves deep respect. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan begins to treat his wound and asks why Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai wanted him to escort those two women. He has something to say, doesn't he? Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai replies that the Zelts went to great lengths to provoke a war between the followers of the gods and humans in order to use this situation and gain a significant advantage. Both sides, both gods and humans, must unite in order to overcome the crisis. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that this is why they want him to go to the gods in order to negotiate and try to resolve this conflict peacefully. This is actually a very good idea. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai thinks that dragon energy flows in his body. He has always wondered why there are magical artifacts on his clothes, but now it is clear to him that their purpose was to hide this powerful aura and says that everything is right, now that he himself is allegedly very seriously injured. They can take advantage of this situation and weaken the vigilance of the enemies. Is Captain Xia Guiqxuan ready to take on the difficult task of reconciling the human race and the descendants of the gods? Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai thinks that if Xia Guiqxuan is the true father of all the gods, then the war between the human race and the descendants of the gods should end soon. If this is not the case, then he will never allow someone who is above the formless stage to stand next to the descendants of the gods. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that he will do as the Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai orders. Deputy Chief Commander Gong Sunjai hastily gets dressed and approaches the table, saying that since they don't have much time, he will issue him a special warrant. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that he will set off immediately after he returns the life of this elder. The young man with blue eyes and blonde hair says that he will wait for good news from him. Let Mr. Xia Guiqxuan return unharmed. When Lin Mozu and the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, return together with a special herb called Bright Night, a man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, begins to collect the soul of the elder of the Heavenly Way sect in parts. Soon, the elder of the Heavenly Way sect abruptly sits down on the ground and the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, exclaims with joy that Elder Fan is alive. He was killed, but thank heaven, their father of all gods is here and saved him. The elder of the Heavenly Path sect, Fan, with tears of happiness, hugs the leg of the Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan and shouts that he is immensely grateful to him for saving his life. He will always be faithful to the father of all gods. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, exclaims that he knows that he is very loyal, although a little stupid, otherwise he would not have saved him. Let him get on his feet already, it's not the time for him to cry. What a contrast. Why didn't someone show him their obedience and respect just like this elder of the Heavenly Path sect fan? The head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, says that this is all because he appeared before her in his human form, and it was not at all convincing. If he wants true obedience to himself, then let him show her at least his dragon form. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, asks who told her this at all, that he is actually a dragon. They invent everything so well. The Azure Dragon is just one form of his essence, not his true form. What she sees in front of her now is his real form. The elder of the Heavenly Way sect, Fan, and the head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, are shocked to think that the father of all gods turned out to be a man. The elder of the Heavenly Path sect, Fan, exclaims that they must accept that the father of all gods is a man. All these years his devotion. The immortal emperor Xia Guiqxuan asks him to calm down and says that if it comforts him, then the blood of the fox spirit flows in him. This will do. His grandmother was the rightful fox princess with 9 tails and 2 shan. It was already an eternity ago. The head of the Heavenly Path sect, Shang Jiao, begins to hum a simple melody. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, exclaims that she also knows this song from 2 shan. The girl with long blonde hair says that some of her blood was passed on by the former king, so she kind of inherited the blood of the fox with 9 tails and knows this song. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan sits on the throne and says that means the last king was a fox. No wonder they were looking hard for fox descendants and even chose Xiangyu City President Yin Xiaoru as one of their targets. The elder of the Heavenly Path sect, Fan, says that humanity killed their king. That's why they fell apart. They just want to find his blood so that the descendants of God can come together again as one. But they could only find Yin Xiaoru. And you would never have thought that someone as stupid and narrow-minded as this girl would do great things. For comparison, the young lady head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, who also has the blood of a former king, can become a leader much better than Yin Xiaoru. He turns to the girls and asks why they look at him like that. It's true. The head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, says that the elder of the Heavenly Way sect, Fan, has a very long tongue, but has he forgotten that the president of Xiangyu, Yin Xiaoru, is the woman of the father of all gods? The elder of the Heavenly Path sect, Fan, shouts that he insulted the father of all gods. Let him take his life as punishment. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that now he certainly understands why the aliens of Zelta can catch and use them so easily. By focusing too much on blood, they have created a weak spot for themselves. 24 years ago, on the day of the Demon King's death, the conflict between the human race and the descendants of the gods intensified. But how could they fall into the same trap 24 years later? Let them open their eyes. They are just being used by the Zelts. There must be something else behind the death of the Demon King. The head of the sect of the Heavenly Way, Shang Jiao, in terrible excitement, asks the father of all the gods about what they should do next. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that the main priority is to end the war, and this will require many efforts on both sides. Addressing the head of the Heavenly Path sect, Shang Tsao, he says that he needs to see the Azure Dragon. And while the fire dragon named Hong Yuan is bothering him, he will send the dragon to the battlefield. The head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, falls on one knee and says that he will take care of everything. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that he is going to return to his body now in order to enjoy the spectacle. Let her take care of everything here. Lin Mozu asks the owner to wait and exclaims that she doesn't think this Shang Jiao can be trusted. She serves the Fox King more than him. The immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan asks what she offers him to do in this case. A girl with long red hair happily asks him to give Shang Jiao the same slave mark as her. Then she herself will swear her devotion to him and will serve him with all her heart. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, asks if she wants to first show by example how to serve him. Lin Mozu blushes, but immediately pulls herself together and says that she obeys the master, snuggling up to him and trying to kiss him. However, the immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan intercepts her hands and laughingly exclaims that he is just mocking her. Where did all her coolness go? A girl with long red hair turns away and mutters with embarrassment how she can disobey the master's order at all if she has a slave's mark on her. A man with long black hair dressed in a traditional Chinese costume taps her forehead and asks if she is sure that she actually has a slave mark on her. Lin Mozu exclaims in amazement that did he not put a slave mark on her, whereas he can explain that damn mark on her forehead and thinks that no, it seems to be fear in her heart because she absorbed his blood. She had always felt it next to him, but she realized only now, then everything she did was completely sincere. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says he can change her cursed mark and, putting 2 fingers on her forehead, disappears. Lin Mozu walks up to the mirror and exclaims that he is mocking her anyway, seeing a green turtle on his forehead. The action takes place in the sea. The second priest asks in a rage if he is mocking him if he says that he is a traffic star. Immortal Emperor Xia Guiqxuan says that everything is as it is. The second priest should hurry up and take him to the father of all gods. The man with the snake-shaped hair says that the father of all the gods will be here soon, but in the meantime, why don't they watch this magnificent battle? Below, combat robots are fighting with a giant whale, and bombs are being dropped from warships. The second priest says that people are actually very strong. They could not even think about this even 100 years ago. Such a weak being who relies only on science can actually regain the high level of the Kai and Yuan kingdom. The immortal emperor Xiaogui Xuan asks why he is saying this to him, a human. A man with hair in the form of snake says that this is because he thinks that he is not a person at all. The will of people is very weak and therefore they cannot reach the formless kingdom. And he had only reached the rank of captain in the formless realm, so why wouldn't he join them and work together for a common great cause? The immortal emperor Xiaogui Xuan asks if the second priest offers him to defect to him and thereby betray the father of all the gods. He is trying to betray the father of all gods and replace him. Replacing the father of all the gods is always a great attempt to conquer the heavens. He admires them for their ambitions. The second priest exclaims that in addition to overwhelming strength, the leader of the descendants of the gods must have a strong will. But now the father of all gods, a man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, thinks that although Tsang Lung is a fake, she still dares to sting him and says that the descendants of God are born from the perception of the father of all gods, and therefore they have great respect for him. But the second priest has not only a deep prejudice against the father of all gods, but also demonic cultivation. He is very interested in what is going on. A man with hair in the form of snake says that the understanding of heaven is not transmitted by the goddess. This caused another understanding. He sees that the way of heaven is not the same as the way of blood, selfishness, murder, and lust. And after he saw the father of all gods in his true form, he was absolutely convinced that the path he had learned was the true path of the father of all gods. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan asks if he thinks that demonic cultivation is the true path of the father of all gods. He admits blood, murder, and selfishness, but is he sure about lust? The second priest in a rage shouts that the very nature of the dragon is lustful, which means that the father of all the gods is a man who loves to have fun with beautiful women more than anything else in the world. Jan Ziyao also appreciated him precisely for his dirty manners. Such an old man who does not understand deep desires and uses power for personal gain. Why should he be loyal to him? Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan says that the second priest is completely right and should be punished and thinks that this fake Kang Lung actually made such a statement in order to destroy his reputation. He can't take it anymore, but whoever took his name is clearly someone he knows who it could be. A man with hair in the form of snake says that he sees his confused look and understands that he, too, was disappointed in the father of all gods. He most appreciates such strong people like him. At this time, a huge azure dragon appears in the sky and says that the soul priest has been on the battlefield for so long, but has not finished them all. What is he doing here at all? Let him quickly capture General Yang Wuyu, and he will take care of the naval guns. The head of the Heavenly Way sect, Shang Jiao, thinks why the father of all gods appeared on the battlefield. A man with hair in the form of snake says that his subordinates will immediately carry out the order. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, thinks that it's not surprising that she was able to fake his breath 3 or 5 times, so it's definitely her. A little girl with white hair exclaims to people to attack, as she is not at all afraid of their pathetic guns. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan thinks that this ungrateful little girl should actually be properly punished. General Yang Wuyu thinks that Kang Lung has appeared and rushes to the attack, shouting to everyone to be on the alert. The second priest also attacks her with snakes, which she cannot restrain and flies far back. Thinking in horror that Kang Lung has appeared and the descendants of the gods have also begun to participate in this war, they will not be able to defeat them. One of the soldiers starts shooting at the opponents, and General Yang Wuyu commands to order all the warships to turn on the guns of the Star Destroyer and direct all the firepower at this dragon. Shoot back and retreat, and thinks that now is not the time for a battle. Now you need to save as many lives as possible. The dragon screams in horror why everyone started shooting at him, but she's still not afraid of them. They won't be able to intimidate her. After a powerful general attack, Kang Lung begins to fall, and the soldier commands to prepare for retreat. A man with hair in the form of snakes says that the people he serves are so cowardly that they took and retreated. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan says that this is wisdom. It is the wisest choice for people to leave the battlefield and preserve their strength. The second priest notices that this human messenger did not play any role from the beginning to the end. If he returns now, he certainly will not be able to live long. Why doesn't he just go and stop General Yang Wuyu so that she doesn't finish off the father of all gods? Because that way he still has a chance to survive. A man with long black hair, dressed in a traditional Chinese costume, says that he is completely right and thanks the second priest for reminding him of this. The second priest thinks that as long as he kills Xiaogui Xuan, a man in the formless realm, other people will only be able to become slaves for the descendants of the gods. And besides, Kang Lung was very seriously injured, so he can also use this opportunity to control her soul and take over her body. With Kang Lung as his puppet, he can become the new father of all gods. Immortal Emperor Xiaogui Xuan, who did not hide all the thoughts and intentions of the second priest, thinks that let him finish the job. At this time, a man with hair in the form of snakes bites one of